And it's time for Mike Geary Show. He's ripping off Cullinane.
What happened?
Let's talk to, cause he's lonely on Saturdays. Mike was told to come up with something, and I guess this is what he did. We should give him some points for trying. Kirk wants to know what the point of this is. Just a warning for all you guys. You'll never get this hour back in your life. This is Mike and the Minifans. Mike is talking with you. This is Mike and the Minifans. Mike is talking with you. This is Mike and the Minifans. This is Mike and the Minifans. Mike is talking with you.
Premises host, Blind Mike. Of fucking course. Why wouldn't we start with a goddamn problem? The hilarity that I just said. You just killed my fucking line, asshole. Don't do it. He's just an intern, Mike. What I said was, welcome to Mike and the Minifans, and that's Mike with 3 Ks this week. Wasn't that funny? Isn't that a funny, spontaneous line that I came out with? But of course, Justin fucking ruined it right out of the gate. That's good. I hope his mental health is okay for me bashing him here. Fucking moron. God damn it. Is this frustrating? Well, anyways, hopefully I can shake this feeling of pure rage right now. But I want to start by saying this. When I joined the Kirk Minahan show as sidekick or whatever you want to call me, I figured it was only a matter of time before Kirk got into it with the likes of Lupe Fiasco. I thought maybe Big Daddy Kane was a possibility, but I never anticipated Talib Kweli and Kirk Minahan having a rivalry like this, especially one that lasts, what are we, into hour 26 now or something? Unbelievable. So we'll get into that and a lot more. But first, I want to tell you about my friends at Broken Tee Virtual Golf. That's thebrokentee.com, T-E-E. Now, you may be seeing on your screen right now pictures of joy and merriment and people golfing, or you probably see a picture of Justin's dumb fucking face because he doesn't know how to do anything. But whatever you see on your screen right now, just know that you should stop by. Justin would have you believe that you should just, hey, it's no big deal. Just drive around Massachusetts until you find it. Who gives a fuck what town it's in? Oh, no, just get in your car and just start driving. You'll drive past Broken Tee Virtual Golf at some point. But I'm here to tell you, it is in Lakeville, Massachusetts. 166 County Road in Lakeville, Massachusetts. And Justin, if you're capable, could you read the telephone number for the people?
508-923-4653. It's on the screen.
That is, I know it's on the screen, asshole. That is the voice of a demoralized man. That's a man that can't take it anymore and may kill me, and I'll never see it coming. That's the scary part, is that physically he could do whatever he wants to me. That's what I worry about here while I berate him. Mentally, certainly, he's not capable of outsmarting even a guy like me. But physically, he could do some damage, and that's what I worry about. But anyways, thebrokentee.com. They've got multiple full swing. I said it right this time. Full swing virtual golf screens. And they've got a league going on right now that you can join. They've got 40 world famous courses that you can go. If you say, hey, I'm never gonna get out to Pebble Beach or something, then go to Broken Tee Virtual Golf. And also the other thing they want to emphasize at this time of year, I think it's very important, because I don't like the idea of getting gifts. Gift certificates are a lot easier. You don't have to carry a bunch of shit. You don't have to go through the wrapping or any of that nonsense. Just get a gift certificate. If someone in your family likes golf or wants to try it out, call up the Broken Tee Virtual Golf, and let them know you want to buy a gift certificate or lessons with PGA professional and big Minifan, Mark Kitchen. And if you say that you heard of them on Mike and the Minifans, you get 10% off. which is not a bad deal at all. And also, they've got a great selection of craft beers once you get in the place, which is important for a guy like me. You like to get a little tipsy while you're out on the links. And I should emphasize, blind or sighted, Broken T Virtual Golf is a terrific place. Not just blind people. Even if you can see, this is a great place to swing the clubs in the winter time when you can't get out on the course. All right, so check out my friends on at Broken T Virtual Golf, thebrokent.com. They're updating their website now, but you can get the basic information there, no problem. And you're also supporting a Minifan, so make sure you mention that you heard us on Mike and the Minifans. Grab a gift certificate or a lesson with PGA Pro Mark Kitchen. All right. Now, what I've done this evening, listen, the Kirk Minahan Show and Barstool Sports have been called out as racists by legendary rapper Talib Kweli. So what I did is assemble a group of the finest white men I could find, white men of all variations, to discuss this issue. We've got some legendary Minifans with us. Made Man, Kevin from Bristol, runner of the Discord, who Kirk has never met. Patrick is with us, and Andy Mayo, who I don't know if the Minifans would necessarily know him, but he's a name on Twitter. As Dave Cullinane would say, this is a controversial figure on Twitter. He's always going at people. This Andy Mayo.
And you don't know if I'm white. The mayonnaise is white, but who knows?
That's true. I guess I don't know. I'm judging by your voice, which is, again, a guy like me would do that. You know,
I could not be whiter, for the record.
Boy, how disappointing is Justin, huh, guys?
I'm actually. Hey, Justin helped me out this week. I was happy with it. But how old is Justin?
20. How old are you, Justin? 23? 23.
I heard intern. I thought he was some like fresh-faced 18-year-old right out of high school.
No, actually, he's the same age. He's really following in my footsteps in that he's an older intern. I was 23 also when I was intern for Barstool.
Okay.
And he's a fucking moron, just like I was when I was an intern. So he's really following. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree here on Mike and the Minifans.
Hey, if in 5 years he's where you are, that's not bad.
Oh,
right?
what a spot that would be. $250,000 a year he'll be making. So what's up, guys? Obviously, this Talib Kweli thing is unbelievable. And what I want to know, Patrick, you might be the best guy to describe this. I don't know. How did this start? It's mine. What I've seen is, correct me if I'm wrong here, that Turtle Boy tweeted something, someone replied to it and tagged Talib Kweli, and then 26 hours later, we're still dealing with it. Is that about right?
So I don't really know how it started. I think so. I came out of a movie yesterday, and I came out to all these tweets and everything, and I saw it. And it seems like he posted something about Barstool being racist, and then somehow a couple Minifans got tangled up in there, and then all of a sudden he's calling Kirk racist. And I know Steve reached out, I think, on Twitter and asked him to come on the show. And then after that, it was just a bunch of Minifans jumping in and asking him to go on, and then everybody that tweeted at him, he just said he's just calling everybody a racist. So my assumption yesterday was anything you hear about Barstool is going to be related to the Portnoy thing. Obviously, that big controversy yesterday. So when I see Talib Kweli going after Barstool, I think, is he saying something about the Portnoy video? But then I see the accusations of racism, and I'm thinking, where the fuck did this start? What is his point with Barstool being racist, and where does it come from? Do we have any fucking idea? No one knows? He just keeps sending the screenshots of the same, 3 articles.
That's my favorite, is that he's like, no, I've got screenshots. He's like, you don't understand. Not only do I have proof, I've got screenshots here, fellas. That's his big, he's obsessed with that. That's his big thing, is I've got screenshots.
He's got screenshots of articles by writers who probably also refuse to go on any show and argue about what they wrote. So it just self perpetuates. Now someday people will refer to his tweets as proof that Kirk is racist and Barstool is sexist.
Right, of course.
Just keeps going and going.
He'll refuse to speak of it. And one of my retorts, I thought even tonight, I said to myself, Kevin, go on Mike and the Minifans in blackface, maybe, and that might,
well,
show them.
We had the audio equivalent of that on the first week. Hopefully Talib Kweli doesn't get a hold of Joe Jarchezel, because that could be rough. But yeah, it's a weird. So for anyone that doesn't know Talib Kweli, because in fairness to him, I see a lot of Minifans, and listen, I don't know that certainly me, Steve, and Kirk are not Talib Kweli's target audience. I don't know if the Minifans are either necessarily. So I've seen a lot of people going after him and saying, like, who the fuck are you? You're a nobody, blah, blah, blah. To be fair, the guy is a rap legend. Like, in the rap community, he's a huge name. I mean, he's got 1 million followers, but he's also got the respect of a lot of guys in rap. And the other thing that amazes me is when I heard the name Talib Kweli, I started running through my memory. I was like, why do I know that name? And I remember he was on Jim and Sam a couple years ago. And I heard an interview with him where I was like, he was a guy that when I listened to him, I was like, all right, I don't agree with 95% of the shit coming out of his mouth, but he seems like a smart guy who can explain his point and defend his point. But then when I see him on, I even went back and listened to that interview today because I was like, was I missing something? Am I nuts? Because when you read his tweets, he seems like a complete, like a genuinely insane asshole in the midst of a breakdown. Like, I just don't get what he's doing.
He's an incessant tweeter. He tweets like crazy, and it's off the wall nonsense. But he won't take a stance and talk to someone or listen to someone and go back and forth. So fuck that. He's a big pussy.
Right. And the other thing I don't get is, go ahead.
He's been going for, it started at 5:38, I think somebody said yesterday, and he's been going since then. Someone said it was like 6,000 tweets in the last 24 hours that he sent out. That's just insane.
And
I mean, you guys have your own time, but that's crazy that you would spend that much time just sitting there tweeting it at random parody counts too.
Is it the Minifans trolling him, and is he just trolling back at this point? Or does he genuinely believe it when he calls them Nazis and terrorists? I wasn't sure today. I was thinking maybe this guy's it's just two sides trolling each other.
I think it is. If I had to guess, because like I said, after hearing him in an interview, I should say, I don't think of him as an insane man. I think maybe a little bit of it's trolling. Like, I don't think he necessarily believes Dave Portnoy is a Nazi. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. If you consider, let's just say what holidays Dave Portnoy celebrates, it doesn't make a ton of sense to me that he would be a Nazi. I don't know if you know a lot about the Nazis. Not big fans of Jews. I don't know that Portnoy would fit in the Nazi club. So that's got to be trolling a little bit. But, I mean, just the sheer tyranny of will to do 6,000 tweets in 26 hours or whatever we're at now. That's unprecedented. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like it.
If he's trolling, he loves trolling.
Yes.
I have a feeling in the next week or so we're going to see a Portnoy sex tape leaked, and he'll be making furious love with a beautiful African American woman, just to show he's on the level.
So here's the part I don't get, because of course I'm very selfish. How did I get lumped into this? Because I mean I threw a couple fairly innocent shots last night, but it was date night, if I'm being honest. Me and the lady went to see Richard Jewell, which I thought was fantastic. Maybe we'll get into that in a minute.
Really got you in the mood?
It got me in the mood a little bit. I see a nice bombing, and I say, all right, sweetheart, let's get out of here early. But I didn't get that heavily involved last night. This morning, I said again, actually, no, I didn't say. All I said was, I saw a tweet from Obviously that said something like, obviously, we're going to get a Talib Kweli Blind Mike rap battle now or something. To which I simply responded, I'm in. Which it seems pretty innocuous. It seems fairly innocent of me. I don't know. But that warranted Talib Kweli to say, Blind Mike is a white supremacist who, I'm worried about Steve cutting this up as a sound drop, who wants to fuck black men into submission, he said. Now, listen, I'm always here for a good time. But I've never experimented in that world, and I don't know where he got that impression of me. I'm fascinated by it.
Mike, that's what I mean. You left the comma out. You left the comma out of the tweet.
I know. I said I'm in Talib Kweli. I meant to say I'm in Talib
Kweli.
Yeah.
The comma would have cleared it up. That's on you, Mike. I hate to be critical, but that's on you.
I understand.
And I don't think you're homophobic. If you were to fuck a black man, Talib Kweli would be one of the guys I think I'd put my dick in. Why not?
Sure. Why not? Listen.
Yeah.
I'm open to anything. I'm in a loving relationship, so I might have to pass. But once I tell her to hit the bricks, I'm open to whatever.
But you don't pass on AJ though, Mike, huh?
Well, sometimes you gotta take a lunch date when it's offered to you. We'll get to that in the second half of the program. But what is it about me, fellas, that inspires millionaires to harass and insult me? Because now this is the second time in a month. Dave Portnoy called me an asshole last month, and now Talib Kweli calls me a white supremacist. Am I that bad a guy?
Well, I think Dave called you a dumb, blind, fat fuck.
Yes, a useless asshole, a talentless cunt. I think he said, yeah.
He seemed like he came around on you this week, though.
A little bit.
He came around on something.
Yeah, what did you guys think of that? Well, it came, definitely. So Portnoy was on, and maybe we'll get to the other stuff later. We'll see. But Portnoy was on, and do you think that's just that he didn't want to disrespect Kirk by coming onto his show and yelling and screaming at me? Or do you think it's kind of proof of what I said last month, that he was never really that mad at me? It was kind of in the moment he was pissed, and then he looked at it and said, what the fuck am I doing here?
I would think that you're right, Mike. I don't think Portnoy would have any trouble coming on Kirk's show and disrespecting him.
Right. Neither do I.
Right. He went off on you.
I believe Portnoy enjoys fucking with you. It's almost a Kirk thing. He likes taking a shit on you because it's fun.
Sure.
And not because he truly hates you. He doesn't truly hate you. I don't believe that anyway.
Well, that's the other thing is that, yeah, go ahead.
I think you had it. You said at some point on the show that you feel like he was more mad at Kirk and just couldn't take it out on Kirk, so he took it out on you. Like
Maybe.
in the moment, that's kind of what it seemed like, especially where he comes on this week and he was fine towards you.
But also, MHB is tweeting last week that, or the other day, that he's like, Blind Mike's a pussy for letting Portnoy shit down his throat. And then you hear Portnoy on the show the other day, and it's like, I don't know, how mad am I supposed to get at this guy? Obviously, that's what Portnoy does. He goes off and rants and raves, and then the next day or the next week or whatever, he's fine. Like, that's just kind of how he vents. Kirk's similar in a way where you look at MHB. He was truly pissed at MHB, and then the other day he's kind of like, you know what, MHB's going through some shit. Leave him alone a little. Maybe you should just lay low for a while.
The reason you can survive in Kirk's world, Mike, is that you can be shat on and you can roll with the punches.
Right.
And that's what MHB doesn't have. MHB is such a sensitive pussy, and I love him. MHB was the guy that stuck the Save Kirk flag in Planet Minahan a long fucking time ago, and he rode that shit out, and I respect him, and I love him. And I even love the fact that he's a sensitive fucking huge pussy. I love that. That's funny. He doesn't get that. If Kirk busts your balls nonstop and still brings you back in, he likes you. If he busts your balls and doesn't want to see you again, he doesn't like you. He loves MHB and he busts his balls, and MHB gets fucking sensitive. You, Mike, you can take it, and that's why you're on the show. That's why you can make it work. Guys can fucking take a dump on you down your throat, and you can fucking laugh.
I love it. I eat it up.
Yeah, you swallow that shit, fill your belly. It's good. That's why you belong there. That's why you work.
Well, so we were talking about MHB, and I can kind of tie it into the Talib Kweli thing, because out of nowhere, I see MHB's back involved in this, and kind of, I guess, back to the typical MHB thing of taking that and shitting on Talib Kweli. I don't know how to feel about MHB anymore, because he's my buddy. I love him. And he's a legendary Minifan, and he does a great job and everything. But there's a weird thing where I do get annoyed when it's when you're using. He came on the show the other day and said that Kirk makes the blind joke too much. Like he always goes to me being blind, which I don't think Kirk does really.
Not at all.
Whether he does or not, regardless, who the fuck is MHB to say that someone's making fun of me too much? So MHB says that, like, don't make fun of Mike for being blind all the time. Then a couple days later says, this blind fucking pussy, immediately uses the blind thing and snaps on me. That I kind of have a problem with, because it seems like, okay, is this guy a complete phony? Does he hate me? Does he love me? What the fuck is going on? That's where it's different. He says that I say he's being sensitive, but I'm also sensitive, which I'm sure I get sensitive plenty. Too often, I'm sure. But there's a difference between shitting on people and having a good time and laughing and snapping and getting angry. I think that's a big line.
I feel like MHB has crossed that line into just snapping and being angry territory. And I think today, coming in with Talib, I think that's the role MHB described last week as what he envisions for himself. is being that guy who kind of comes in and defends Kirk and the world against these types of critics. So today, I thought he was kind of in his element.
That's what he's good at. Yeah.
MHB needs a cause. He can't just be in the world and fucking ride the boat. He needs a fucking cause, and I love that. We need a guy like that. Everybody does, but without a cause, he's just fucking runs adrift. He doesn't know what to do with himself.
Well, the problem is without a cause, he starts turning on people. You know what I mean? He'll say, "Oh, the show's not as good now. Mike's an asshole. Kirk's a bitch. Whatever the fuck he says." He starts going after people on the show or in the Minifan community because there's no one else to go after. Which is an odd instinct.
He definitely can kind of snap quickly when somebody's coming after him as well, too.
So here's my question. Go ahead, Kevin.
MHB has the same thing that fucking Cullen does. These guys, they go from 0 to 1,000. They fucking boil over. They go bananas, and it's great entertainment. And they always come back. They always come back down.
Right.
Well, you need people who overreact. You need people who fucking Colleen flies up, fuck this, fuck you. MHB sensitive, you can't take shit. At the end of the conversation, he goes, "Well, maybe you're right." He always does that.
Yeah, it gets a little frustrating when you constantly have to explain yourself. You have to explain what you're doing because MHB and Cullinane, I think, gets it more now. But MHB is a fan of the show. He's a fan of Kirk. He's podcasted with me a lot. I would assume he gets it. You know what I mean? Like, I would assume he understands and is in on the joke. But more and more, it seems like he's not in on the joke, which is the frustrating part.
Mike, the other day it got cut off because Kirk kind of jumped on him, so it didn't really stand out. But I noticed MHB at one point said something to Kirk like, "You just say things to say them and get people upset," and it was like, MHB, what fucking show have you been listening to? Like, of course. He said it like it was this big accusation. It's like, exactly, MHB. And that's the thing that really baffles me about him is sometimes I'm like, wait, how does he, of all people, not fucking understand how this works? He just doesn't like when it's being done to him. He likes reveling in it being done to other people. But as soon as it's done to him, he flips.
I mean, he says things to say. I think the funniest thing is one of the hardest laughs I had listening to the Kirk and Callahan show when I just randomly heard Kirk say, "Rob Bradford dead at 45," and it goes to break. Now, you may not know this. Rob Bradford is still walking around. The man is still alive. So I don't know that we have to be literal all the time. It's a weird thing where it's like he knows what humor is. He does it. He's funny on the Minifan show when he was on there. So I don't get how he gets himself so outside of the world. And I guess I know he has his own issues like we all do, but so maybe I'm being too hard on him.
No.
But it's you have to understand what we're doing because he does it too, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but he seems like he completely flies off the handle, and it's legitimate. Like, he's legitimately pissed.
Yeah.
And he'll come back, the next day or hours later and just say like, "Oh yeah, it was just a bit. It was just part of the show." But some of those things are definitely work. Just playing it up, and then there's other things that you're just completely off the handle.
Is that on us at all? You think on me for getting mad at it for maybe I should learn this is just what MHB does, and tomorrow will be fine.
See, if you didn't do that, if you weren't hard on him, if you didn't push his buttons, then you're not playing the game, and it's not going to be as good as it is when we listen to it. You listen to it, I'm fucking laughing my ass off because this guy is just taking it so to heart, and it goes back and forth the whole time, and you should be hard on him. You should push his buttons because that's what he's at his best too.
Yeah. Oh, well, we can get back to MHB in a second, but this is what I wanted to talk about with Talib Kweli. I wasn't done with that yet. The thing I'm most fascinated by, I think, even more than him calling me a closeted gay white supremacist, is that he's been tweeting at Barstool for a day and a half now, essentially, and there has not been a response from them at all.
Yeah, Jack Mack.
Jack Mack. I think Smitty liked one of my tweets, and the Wonton Don.
Is that a Barstool guy?
Yes.
Okay.
So those guys have dipped their toe in a little bit. What did Jack Mack say? I didn't see that.
I don't know off the top of my head.
It doesn't matter.
I'm sure.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this in the meantime. Do you think this guy is a fucking multimillionaire? He is a platinum selling award-winning rapper. Do you think he has people working for him doing his tweeting? Can he possibly?
There's no way. There's no way you're paying someone for this. There's no way.
I find it hard to believe that a guy this accomplished is saying these things and tweeting this number of times. It's remarkable.
But
So I
Mike,
guess
along,
this is go ahead.
along those lines, similar to that question, I was curious: is there any chance he's doing this because you guys have often said people will attack Barstool as a means of getting clicks and getting attention? Do you think some of that is going on here with him?
No, because I don't want to say Talib Kweli is bigger than Barstool, but he's a very well respected guy with a lot of followers. I guess maybe for attention in the sense that in his mind, Dave Portnoy is going to come at him, or Kevin's going to come at him, or Kirk, or whoever. So
he's done this stuff before, though.
But he does this stuff all the time, where he's been suspended from Twitter for this kind of shit. He calls people Nazis all the time. It's kind of what he does.
And
I think on some level he believes Barstool is racist, I guess, which doesn't make any sense. But I think he really believes it.
Okay.
But I guess what I'm more fascinated by is this seems like right in the wheelhouse of Barstool. It seems like Barstool would eat this shit up. A legendary guy in the rap game is going at them hard for an entire day, specifically kind of targeting one of their shows. And there hasn't been a peep from any of the big dogs. And also, not to mention, you'd think this might take some of the heat off of other stories going on. But
Would you?
but it's just amazing to me that there hasn't been a response at all, and I don't understand why, really.
Would you say Barstool has changed in that aspect?
No. No.
Never.
I think it's always. I think from 2007 on, they never would have responded to a legendary rapper calling them racist for 26 hours straight. There's never a time that they would have responded to that. No, that's a crazy talk.
It does seem strange that no one has chimed in whatsoever besides, Jack Mack. That, Portnoy's been tweeted at. He's been tagged in probably hundreds of tweets at this point, probably thousands.
Yeah, Barstool Sports has been tagged in almost every tweet that Talib has fired off. So it's weird. I mean, they're obviously seeing it. If a guy with 1 million followers tweets about you, they're seeing it. But here's the other odd thing I found is that so I tweet one dumb thing about him, and that gets more likes and retweets than anything he's saying.
Yeah, he barely even breaks 10 likes on any of his tweets that he sends out. I was scrolling through looking at that. Is that just
because he tweets so much, you think? Or does he not have – because I'm amazed at the lack of – it's been all Minifans on Talib. There's been no Talib Kweli fans coming back, which I found very strange.
I'm guessing you can like Talib Kweli's music, and some of his music I think is pretty good. But I don't think he has this loyal fan base, that's like a podcast or a tweeting fan base. Listening to music is one thing, but being a Minifan and living and dying with the projects and the words of one person, I'm not sure if he has that. Obviously, he doesn't.
It also could be the fact that he does this often enough that if you follow him on Twitter, you don't want him clogging up your timeline for 27 straight hours that you probably have him muted anyway.
I guess so, yeah, because it just seems incessant. And the odd thing is he follows 11,000 people, which really means he follows no one. Because if you're following that many people, you're not paying attention to your timeline at all. So it's just a bizarre behavior on Twitter. But I don't know. We can get more into that. We can get into some other stuff in the second half of the hour here. But first, let me tell you a little bit about my friends at BOSNYE.com. Listen, gang, if you're going, I don't know if any of you guys are going out on New Year's Eve. But me personally, I hate the idea of spending a ton of money. Like, I hate the idea of spending $100, $200 before I even get in the door. That's fucking infuriating. So what you do is you go to BOSNYE.com, and they've got parties starting at $9, even cheaper if you use promo code Mike. That's Mike in all caps. That's why I'm yelling it. Mike is the promo code you want to use at BOSNYE.com. BOS as in Boston, NYE as in New Year's Eve. And what you do there, so you buy tickets now because the closer we get to Christmas and after Christmas, it's going to be a lot more expensive. Prices go up the closer you get to New Year's Eve. You go to BOSNYE.com. You can get yourself some cheap prices. Justin tells me there's also a New York pub crawl on there. I'm sure that's wrong. I'm sure that's misinformation that he's giving me. But what's that?
It's not New York, it's New Year's Eve pub crawl.
Oh, a New Year's Eve pub crawl. That's why it didn't make any sense to me. A New Year's Eve pub crawl. That makes a lot more sense. So there's a pub crawl on New Year's Eve as well. Go to BOSNYE.com and check out the parties. They've got it all over the city, whether it's the West End, Faneuil Hall, Seaport, all over the place. If you're going out in Boston, even if you're in if you live in my neck of the woods, Springfield, or you're out in Providence, wherever, New Hampshire, Maine, and you want to come down to a real party for New Year's Eve, come on down to Boston. Check out bosnye.com and get yourself some cheaper tickets. Add promo code Mike, all caps, at checkout for a little cheddar back, a nice taste, a little deal there. And so again, the guys that run bosnye.com, big Minifans. So just support them for the sake of supporting them, if nothing else. But also, you get a great deal on New Year's Eve parties. All right? You guys going out on New Year's Eve? Because oh, that's the other thing, is open up your tabs right now and do it. You guys New Year's Eve guys? Kevin from Bristol is drinking right now. I feel like
I'm drinking now. I will be drinking then. But because I have two little shits, I will probably be at a house party.
Well, that's the thing, Kevin. The money you're saving on bosnye.com, you can afford a babysitter or something. That's the nice thing with it.
There you go. That's not a bad idea. I will look at that. Myself and little Glenn here. We might look it up and try it out. Why not?
Oh, but before I forget, Kevin, the reason I wanted to have you on before all this madness was I have to address my mother is very offended by you.
I heard that and I was fucking so upset. I'm like, when I met her and I met your stepdad, I said to myself, they get it. They're in on it. They get it. I can do this, and they're going to be cool.
They think there was some sort of.
We had some drinks.
They think there was an inside job. They think you were kind of talking them up, chatting them up for information for your song parodies.
I even when I got home, I said to my wife, I said, we could go out and like hang out with these people and drink and chill and have a good time. They were so fucking cool and just real and down to earth. And I'm like, okay, now that I met them, I can do this. No. Because I make fun of them or you, I love you. I love them.
I think
I was like, because I have a good one in the tank. I have a masterpiece.
I can't wait to hear it. Send it in.
Oh, it's coming. I need to work with Kobe James and the Ramblers. Have been busy, when they have some time, we're going to record a new hit single.
Let's hear it a cappella right now.
I don't think so.
Hey, Mike, can I ask something?
Please.
R.A. Minahan's giving me shit on Twitter for not showing my face.
I don't give a shit about that, really. If you want,
I've seen your face.
Can I do it? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
You can if you want, or if you don't, whatever.
There you go, RA. That's a live shot right now.
Were you afraid of being doxxed?
A little bit, yeah. Actually, I am.
Oh.
Are you a business owner like me? I'm a business owner.
No, I'm not a business owner.
Man.
I work at I work in education. I'm a public employee, and I don't think I've ever tweeted anything.
Keep going. Yeah. More.
Yeah. What's school?
I wear slacks to work.
So hot, so fucking hot.
No, but I don't think I've ever tweeted anything fireable or really that offensive. I feel like anyone I've ever been mean-spirited to is part of the Minahan world, where recreational ball busting is kind of the fuel that runs the whole thing.
Yeah. So what are you afraid of then?
I guess I'd rather not find out if I've crossed any lines. All right, fuck it. I'm gonna get bullied by R.A. Minahan into this. He's been on here, right? He was good.
He has twice. He's very good. He's a regular.
R.A., you dumb dick. Here you go. My stupid fat fucking face.
Wow, boy, what an exclusive we're getting.
What
here.
a moment.
Oh my
and the
god!
button-down shirt too. Look at you.
The numbers are going to jump up on this one. Justin, tweet out. Don't actually.
Snapping some pictures right now.
Boy, I can't believe Andy Mayo is showing his face. What a legendary night this will be.
Oh god!
I'm worried this will overshadow the Talib Kweli stuff. We might not even get to that Monday.
So Talib's last 6 tweets are all saying that Kirk's a racist because Donald Trump Jr. was on and Donald Trump Jr.
Jesus Christ!
So he's doing it. He's doing his research. That's the amazing thing. Oh, so
he's googling him on the fly and just finding articles and being like, "See,
I don't understand why
he's pretended to be fucking Cullen."
That's like saying that
he's putting out these screenshots where it's just articles saying Somerville mayor suing Kirk Minahan and Barstool Sports, and he's like, "See, he's a racist." It's like, what are you talking about? I don't get what he means. I don't understand anything he's saying.
It's so clear too that he's just googling on the fly, because if he fucking took 5 minutes to read about that, he would know the whole thing is literally a joke. It's a joke. It's not anything that Kirk is ashamed of. Kirk talks about it all the fucking time. He's posting the article about him impersonating Cullen to trick Curtatone like it's a big gotcha moment.
Yeah, here you go. Look what I found
on the show. Yeah,
he's a fraud.
It's ridiculous.
It's so easy to just say, Hey, racist! You're a racist. It's such fucking cliches. A racist. It's the go-to move for anyone who doesn't have any fucking real ammo to go with. You go with racist.
Well,
I agree.
Bullshit.
I think
dialogue.
we've also crossed over now into the point where maybe after 4 or 5 tweets, Kirk would be pissed at this guy and yelling and screaming at him. I think now it's just silly. Now it's just like, what is he doing? Like, what the fuck? What the fuck are we dealing with? I don't even understand it.
Great point. If he put 1 or 2 tweets out there, Kirk would have gotten to Kirk's skin. The fact that he's going like machine gun nonstop with him, it's just like, wow, he's obviously insane.
Yeah,
He's reporting people on Twitter too. People posting pictures of them being silenced on Twitter. Yeah.
Oh, now
I'll
that
tell you
seems
what,
like
man.
a shame because
I
he's
stayed out of
nuts.
it.
I thought he's going at people. That's what I liked about him.
I don't need somebody with 1 million followers tweeting and tagging me that I'm a racist. That stuff I feel like that gets done way too lightly in instances like this. And it actually made me be like, you know what? I'm not even gonna fucking get involved.
Yeah, but he
one.
doesn't give a fuck about that. You can just throw out.
No, he doesn't, but I do.
Yeah,
but,
right.
But I'm saying that's
well, that's the thing.
exactly. He just throws it out there about anybody when really that's not something that should be done lightly.
The one good thing about that whole, like, people just throwing out Nazi and white supremacist and racist, the one good thing about it is, and I don't even know if you can call this a good thing, but in a way it has sort of devalued the word, because now when you hear, oh, this guy's a racist, you think, oh, he's tweeted some off-color shit or made a few jokes that people don't like. You don't assume he. Of course, it's terrible. But
then when someone is an actual racist, you're thinking, oh, well, yeah, exactly. It dilutes the power of the word when that word should have some power behind it.
Yeah, but the only good thing about it is now when people see Barstool Sports is racist, most people just assume, oh, someone got mad at them for something they posted once.
I see what you mean. Yeah. I see what you mean.
So Andy Mayo Man.
Yeah, just Andy. Andy's fine.
Andy, all right.
Fuck it, the cat's out of the bag. That's my real name.
You had a heavy list in the group chat.
Yeah.
So you want to get to some
thoughts.
stuff, and I know this week or last week, I forget when it was, your name came up on the show, and Kirk identified you as a guy that kind of gives the show some shit sometimes, but a good loyal Minifan. So you have any? What are your beefs with the show? What are your problems you want to get to? Fire away.
I feel like my beefs with the show have calmed down recently. When the show first started, I was getting into a lot of battles with people on Twitter. And for instance, I remember Steve from Gloucester, who I hope is doing well. He went at me once because I asked Ironhead. Ironhead posted something that Greg Hill's ratings might have been higher than anticipated. And I asked him, I said, didn't you earlier report that they were lower? I genuinely was looking for clarification on what the fucking guy's ratings were going to be. And I got Steve from Gloucester coming at me, accusing me of being a Greg Hill burner account. And so stuff like that, where I was like, Minifans, you're going off the fucking wall here. Like, everybody was getting accused of being burner accounts. And I feel like Kirk, with the podcast Jesus thing, like, he cultivates this persona of, blind loyalty from his fans. And I know it's a joke. But sometimes I feel like some people take it too far, take it literally, and I felt like weren't thinking for themselves.
How do you mean?
I mean that, like, if some fans have said, people have literally said to me, I don't care if they're wrong, I'm never going to say it. It to me,
they should say they. But that's
I agree.
I would say that's the thing about Kirk is he might yell and scream about it. He might do a 37-minute show about it. But he's never told, like, he'll have you on. I think that's the interesting thing. He'll have a fan on that disagrees. And I mean, even, like, MHB is kind of more than a fan. Like, KFC knows who he is now. You know what I mean? Like, he's a kind of a cut above a little bit, if that makes... I know, I'm sure I'll get made fun of for saying that. But he'll even have a guy we've never heard of at all on if he's tweeting the show. Like, he had Brian Riccio on his old podcast when I was like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, Riccio sucked.
Well, he's an asshole.
Yeah,
but,
he was fucking.
But like he'll have Twitter trolls on. I think that's that sort of interaction is what makes the show so unique. So yeah, I mean, if people are saying I'm afraid to say something, they're the ones that are wrong. It's got nothing to do with the show, really.
No, I don't think it's because they were afraid. I think it's because they think that that's what it means to be a Minifan. Is that you're so loyal, you wouldn't criticize them ever.
Yeah, but a lot of times you'll come into like a Discord and you'll be mad that people just are agreeing with what the show's doing. We're all fans of this podcast. The majority of the time, we are going to agree with what they're doing and what they're saying. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, me too. Patrick, how often lately what have I disagreed with lately?
Yeah, that's true. I don't really see you popping in.
No, I really do feel like it was at the beginning of the show, and the show was new. So of course it's I feel like at the beginning of something, it's the most ripe time to be like, hey, I don't think this is working. I wish you'd do more of that. Whereas now it's more in a groove, and I feel like less often I have an issue with it. One thing I had an issue with recently, though, was that I was curious to get your thoughts on, Mike, was the Fitzy audio. Because
what about it?
So I've been listening to you for, since fall of last year, man, when you were doing trash talk on EEI, and, comedians' freedom of speech seems to be like a pillar argument for you. Like you've planted your flag on that issue.
Of course. Yeah.
So I was curious this week, what were the behind the scenes discussions like when they came and said, we've got this audio of Fitzy, let's use it on the air and let's kind of tongue in cheek. And
that was not planned. It was kind of sort of natural that we just played those roles where I was uncomfortable.
So you were genuinely uncomfortable, because that's what I would have anticipated.
I was not
clearly fucking kidding.
I was not uncomfortable at all.
On Mike's side with this,
it was clear what Kirk was doing, and I thought it was in sort of a brilliant way that he proved his point. And I believe the point he was proving was him talking about that gives Fitzy carte blanche to do whatever. He could go on there tomorrow and literally do the same thing Christian Fourier did, do an Asian accent, and no one's going to give them shit about it. Why? Because Kirk Minahan's the one going after him. And he's also pointing out the hypocrisy and the double standard that exists with the Globe and EEI. And I think me doing the I'm uncomfortable thing just kind of proved the show's real point of view, I thought. If that makes sense. I was also stunned at the number of people that didn't get what we were doing. I couldn't believe that.
And that's usually where my issue comes in, is with the people that don't get it. Like KMS Reddit and I were arguing about it. And KMS Reddit was saying, no, it's okay for Minifans if they were to go full Murchison on Fitzy over this. If Minifans organized, did an email campaign, and tried to get him in legitimate professional trouble, or to get sponsors to jettison the show, that's fucked up to me. That's the shit that I don't want anything to do with. I don't ever want to be compared to Murchison in my actions, and it troubles me that some, and I would say a very small number of Minifans, but they're vocal about it, seem to think that that's okay and that's what we should be doing. MHB the other day was like, we should be proving that Willie Colon helped Ben Roethlisberger get away with sexual assault. It's like, really? That's what we're fucking here for? No. Like, if you want to tank the guy's podcast ratings, that's funny. You want to prank call him, that's funny. I'm not going to help MHB do a fucking legitimate investigation to try to get somebody into legal trouble over something like that.
Yeah.
So that's the stuff that bothers me, is when people seem to think they don't get that Kirk says things tongue in cheek and isn't being completely genuine because he's doing it to be funny.
At the same time, if you find something that Kevin Cullen does or Shirley Young does, if you find something that we can really go after, I think that's legit. I think that's something we can hop on and
That's a great point, Kevin, because that's what I was going to say, is that while the Kirk Minahan show would pretty much defend anyone that is in hot water, because Kirk says all the time, I don't want anyone fired for speech, for anything, jokes or opinions or anything. But there would be a level of, if Murchison or Shirley or whoever else went after EEI or the Globe, I think Kirk would defend Fitzy or whoever in that situation. But I think he would do it with a little bit of a smile and say, you know what? Hey, this happened to me. This is what you get when you bow down to Bob Murchison. This is what EEI deserves. Which that's a tough one for me. Another good example of one I was conflicted on is, do you remember that Luke O'Neill, where MHB and a lot of people were going after that guy? That was a tough one for me, because I was like, listen, this guy doesn't necessarily deserve that, because he's not the one going after Kirk and digging up old tweets. That's Shirley and Bob and these. So I was conflicted on that, but also I'm like, hey, you know what? If you work for the Globe, I can understand it a little bit. You kind of reap what you sow when it comes to that stuff.
If you find a floater in Sam Kennedy's toilet, I want to know about it, and I think we'll make fun of it and we'll go all the way with it. I think those are the things, if you can't tell what's humor and what's not, I don't know how you're enjoying the show because the show is so full of tongue-in-cheek, of nonsense that it makes me smile all fucking day.
I think people got caught up in, the whole email and merchants and advertisers and partners and everything campaign. And that was completely different because that's going after someone in the same tactic that he was going after Kirk for, passing.
Right. And it got to the point where that was the only way to get him to stop was to just fucking fight fire with fire.
Well, and showing up in his hometown with,
I mean,
Mike, you think he's done? You think he's done? Because he was on my list. I have a question about him. I always wondered if Murchison's next phase would be doxing Minifans. Like if he can't get to Kirk's advertisers because Kirk's now on a podcast, do you think he would stoop low enough to start doxing Minifans and emailing their employers to say,
you showed your face? You son of a bitch!
I know you're kidding, Kevin, but that's honestly the shit that runs through my head where I'm like, there's people like that out there that just want to make trouble for you because you're into a fucking podcast that has some off-color jokes,
I think the answer to that is there's two parts. You said, would he stoop low enough? Of course. The guy looked up Cullinane's wife, for Christ's sake. You know what I mean? Like, of course he would stoop low enough.
That's right. I always thought MHP was right.
The problem is I don't think that gets him what he wanted. You know what I mean? I don't think Andy Mayo being exposed directly affects Kirk Minahan, which I think he really wants to.
I think Kirk would be devastated.
I think it would annoy him. But not as much as going after the show, going after advertisers, going after Barstool, whatever.
So my issue with people that say this, because there's people that, in Discord and everything, people say these things, but is your job going to really fire you because you listen to a podcast? It's different if you're going around and you're saying, you're attacking people and you're saying racist things online and everything like that. But you just go after people, Andy. That
was always my thing with MHB was, MHB, show me a tweet that could get you fired. Like,
that's my point.
But you don't realize how far the blood in the Minifan veins runs out into the world. I was at the dentist waiting to get my teeth checked out, and I'm sitting in the chair. I'm like, where the fuck is the dentist? What's taking all this guy to come in the room? And the dentist finally comes in and he said, I saved you for last because I just found out that you're Kevin from Bristol. He's like, everyone, come in here. Come in here. I swear to fucking Christ. The dentist made me wait like 45 minutes because he wanted to sit and talk with me about Kirk. He wanted to sit and talk about the show. This fucking wicked successful dentist, and he's one of the biggest fans of the show. He loves it.
Were you guys passing the gas mask back and forth?
Oh, we passed on the doobies. It was really, I was like, wow, this is amazing. Kirk's fandom knows no boundaries.
I know that's the amazing thing that Kirk has created a world where a former prank caller is getting recognized out in the public now. That's fucking unbelievable.
One of the best callers ever.
Right? Yeah. For any for any mincels, Kevin from Bristol is a Hall of Fame WEI caller.
And don't forget, I won my Winer of the Year award, motherfuckers.
Did you?
Back when Glenn was cool.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I won Best Musical Wine. And I was presented an award by Cedric Maxwell and Lou fucking. I was called Lou Minahan.
You know what doesn't make any
Lou
sense?
Maloney?
That fucking award ceremony used to be at the Garden.
It was huge. It was fucking huge.
That's unbelievable.
And I sang, and the crowd sang with me. I must have been like 1,000 people were singing along with me to one of my fucking crazy shit songs.
It's sad. Incredible. It's sad that that's what EI was.
Yeah.
And then you look at EI now. It's just a sad display.
And while you're on that, Mike, I want to go here anyway. I feel like WEI left such a big, hot, bitter load in Kirk's throat that everything that was about that time, he's so, just he's against. And I think, for those of us who listen to a 3-hour podcast, 4-hour podcast, I wouldn't mind if he just touched a few. And he doesn't care. And I love the fact that he doesn't care. He doesn't care about fucking anything. And I love that. Steve doesn't get it. I get it. I get that he doesn't care. And that's why I love it more. But if he could talk, a few things that he used to, whether it's sports or shit about Jerry, it's like he was so good. His sports mind is fucking brilliant. The stuff he retains.
Well, he'll do that. He'll talk about. I mean, he'll talk about Brady or stories that, I think Kirk's whole thing is he wants to talk about stories that are big that people are interested in talking about. He's not going to talk about the fucking Patriots game on Monday. But he'll talk about sports stories or make fun of broadcasters if it comes up or whatever.
I'm with Kevin in the sense that, for example, Kirk said he never wants to do anything with Tangway. Hey, hello. Who's that?
Show your tits. It's my wife.
Kevin.
Hey.
I should hope so.
Oh, your tits.
I totally would.
Hi, Kevin's wife.
Got you. Blow me, bitch.
What a good woman.
Is Roman a sponsor for this one?
They are not.
I'll be doing a Portnoy video later on.
Can you get that same stance down?
No, that's impressive.
Is
That's
that video real? I mean, I know it's
Portnoy acknowledged.
it's clear. It's clearly him, but there's no way Portnoy's in on its release, right?
No. Although here's what
I'll say this.
Because it very conveniently doesn't show the parts of them that typically you would see.
This
in
was
those
this was
things.
PFT commenter came out with this theory, and I think it's a good one. That if you're gonna release a sex tape of yourself, you're gonna have it be a 6-second clip. You're gonna have great lighting and yourself be looking terrific. Like he looks great for his age, unfortunately.
He does.
and you're not gonna be able to see your penis. So I think that's as far as conspiracy theories go, it's not a bad one.
It's got legs.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
He was taking like big swings
God,
too,
Kevin.
like these huge swings, and I'm like, yeah, there's no way you're swinging a hammer that big with those huge thrusts he was taking.
But yeah, it's funny that people are like, if anyone thought that was going to be revenge or that he was going to be embarrassed by that, it's like, well, you might have to come up with something better than that. You're just proving Dave Portnoy has sex.
He was masterful in how he handled it, I thought.
Right, of course.
I do appreciate that he completely owned it day one.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what he does. As much as I am half joking about he's changed all this shit, that's what he does. You knew he would do that and handle it right. And
unless someone calls him racist for 27 hours straight.
And then he just does nothing, which is I cannot believe no one from Barstool is responding to this.
I agree. Dave, get on your soapbox. It's shameful.
Andy, any other criticisms or points about the show you want before we get out of here and switch to the second half of the show?
Let me review my list.
Please do. And Justin, are there any
interesting
questions going on in the chat right now or anything?
A lot of the chat is just about Kevin's Wi-Fi. It's Kevin's connection.
Kevin's Wi-Fi is bad.
Kevin has been dropping out a little bit.
Oh, I don't like that.
He's good, though.
You
You can still tell what he was saying.
Next time I'm here, I'll hardwire my shit in.
Hey, thank you.
First time
I appreciate
that. I'll give it a hard plug-in.
Well, as a made man, Kevin can kind of do whatever he wants on the Minifan, on Mike and the Minifans. I almost called it the Minifan show. Jesus Christ.
It means a lot to me.
People are big on Mayo, though. They like Mayo.
People are big on Mayo. Mayo might be a regular.
Oh, yeah, because I showed my face.
Yes, you were very, very brave.
Fucking face.
That was a big move.
I like
for
mayo.
Hey,
I like mayo on my buns.
Thanks, man. Can I give Justin some credit for something?
Sure.
All
I
right.
think he could use it. I feel like, Justin, were you a little rattled when I was shitting on you at the beginning of the show? I feel like you were a little upset.
I think he's always
Yeah, I mean,
rattled.
I take criticism seriously. I mean,
Yeah.
I do want
Well, fucking get over it.
That's good. There's nothing wrong with that.
it's,
I can tell
Continuous
he's-
improvement,
He's so mad. He goes, and he just looks down.
So
I'm kidding, pal. You're doing a mediocre job.
I did.
What were you saying, Andy?
I did Great Thinkers with Dave Cullinane, right? Mm-hmm. So beforehand, I'm DMing Dave and I'm like, hey Dave, what do you use to log in? Can I test it out ahead of time? Blah 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 blah. How strong should my Wi-Fi be? I'm running through all these things because I don't want it to fuck up. Dave's response was, I hate you. and then my internet fucked up during it and I didn't get to go on. Your intern, on the other hand, I hit him with all the same questions. Boom, boom, boom. He was like, I appreciate this. He fucking helped me out, made sure it would work. So I give him credit for that.
I don't know if he understood what I meant here is that, and I'll tell him now, but I'm more talking to you guys, is that what I told him is he does a good job. He was like, oh, do you want me to quit? I understand if you don't want me back. I think he does a great job. That's my issue is I want him to keep doing it. Just stop the fucking careless mistakes. Don't put up the wrong town of the fucking sponsor. It doesn't make any goddamn sense. Don't put up a video at 6 a.m. when I told you to put up at 11, for Christ's sake. You hear me?
Well, in the second hour, we have Mike versus Justin again.
The drunker I get, I just yell and scream at him.
What are you doing in the second hour with the ladies? You got
it's
all
the
three?
ladies. It's the ladies and Matt from Providence. And I hear tell that Matt from Providence has some issues with AJ. What do you say?
I heard that too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's got a little beef with AJ, which will be interesting. I know Lauren was taking some notes and writing some things down, so that'll be interesting as well. Well, how do you guys feel about AJ and the whole Kelleher thing and this clout business that everyone talks about? What are your thoughts?
I liked AJ when she was first on. I was like, wow, she brought it, but I really feel like she's a paper Minifan. You know, she doesn't listen. She doesn't know all the deals. She doesn't know she doesn't know our world.
Right.
But that's okay because
if that's enough.
They brought her in. So do we really expect her to be as crazy as
I don't expect her to run for office in our society if she doesn't listen to the show at least a couple times a week.
Didn't somebody
in
else?
her defense, Kirk nominated her.
Yeah.
Kirk, that was Kirk's idea.
Yeah,
and
that was
I
short-lived.
saw the
Even
value in that. It does make sense for Kirk to have it. I think AJ's association with the show, as Kirk said, is valuable in terms of having, kind of like an ambassadorship. And so that people like Murchison, it takes the bullet out of their chamber.
Mind.
Oh, Len, you go, Kevin.
Perfect.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, and I thought AJ's interview, man, like that, everything around transgender issues, I think I'm a pretty liberal person. And even I have a lot of questions about that. And people like Murchison and others who went after Kirk for things he said, they stifle the dialogue around that issue when really people need to talk about it, to learn about it, to treat each other fairly. And so for AJ to come in, stuff like that is great to me, man.
Andy, you seem like a smart guy, and I think that I'm,
all right,
just slightly below average. And I thought to myself when I heard her interview, I'm like, this is some real heavy shit, and I appreciated it, and I'm glad. Think about fucking Kirk, the guy that was like going to be thrown off the air because Bob Murchison thought he was anti this and that, and here he is bringing this person on who opened the eyes of a lot of people, me included. I'm like, this is really fucking real. This is really good. And maybe that was part of opening the door to this world where Kirk is now no longer being prosecuted and no longer being harassed like he was. Maybe AJ helped, and God bless her for that. But I don't think she needs to be the Secretary of State.
I also think Matt should be Secretary of State.
The issue is more.
These are important titles, and we should get to the bottom of them.
I'm Homeland Security Secretary. Don't fucking forget it. I'm securing the shit out of that homeland.
I'm the vice president, and Kirk doesn't even know what my name is. So.
Yeah, Patrick, how has that made you feel? That Kirk just doesn't remember who the fuck you are every time? He's met you countless times.
I have people that I text, and when I text, they say "who" back to me. So
I love it.
Who dis?
Yeah.
All right, boys. Anything you want to get to before
Patrick is the unmade man. I love it.
I was
half
you guys
made
enjoy
at
your
one
first time on Mike and the Minifans. I like
it. Was great, man. It was fun.
Yeah, I creamed down my jeans.
That's really the goal here.
I'm like, it was swell. Kevin's talking about creaming.
All right, boy. Andy, any other points, any other criticisms you want to get to before we get out of here?
Yeah, you had an encyclopedia over there. You got
Mike, can I confess my ableism to you?
Please.
For some reason, the first time I saw you, Mike, I was like, he's much more handsome than I expected. And then I was like, wait, why didn't I expect that? There was something about your name being Blind Mike that subconsciously, and I was like, that's fucked up, Andy. That's ableist.
Listen, we'll get to that more in the
open about
second half of the show with the ladies. But
talk about rubbing the lamp there, Andy. You're very handsome, Mike. I'd like to be on again.
You guys don't think Blind Mike's a good looking guy?
Oh no, I definitely absolutely do. You see his mom? I mean, where did he come from?
Right?
Christ,
That's
he should work on the beard a little bit more. But
Mike, actually, your mom does look like you. Like your mom is hot. There's no hype. Right. She's hot, but she looks enough like you that it makes it a little weird.
Right?
Does that make sense?
You fantasize about me as well. You're saying
in a weird way. So then I'm like, I'm just going to stay away from the whole situation because I don't want it to get.
I'll say this. I'll say that. You know what I see here before me on this first half of the Minifan show? Jesus Christ, I keep doing that. Mike and the Minifans.
Great thinkers.
I see three regulars right here. Patrick, Kevin from Bristol, and Andy. Terrific job, all three. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks, gentlemen.
All right. Last chance if she wants to show its tits. Well,
does she want to?
I don't know.
Maybe next time.
All right.
Tell her next time.
I got one last quick point. Kirk says fuck too much.
You think so?
I bet you he agrees with me. I bet you he agrees with me because I remember him saying once on EEI that if he were to go to an uncensored format, he would lean on fuck too much. And sometimes he
Yeah,
does.
I mean,
When
I think
he's
it sounds pretty
ranting-
natural. He does not doing it. My
when
problem
he's
would be
ranting,
if he
when
was
he's
doing it on
ranting, he
purpose.
says it too much.
I
When he's
think-
ranting, he'll be like, "You fucking fuck." Like it's a little too.
It always sounds natural to me. But I mean, if that's your cup of jizz, then go for it.
Let's hope he doesn't agree with you, because then we'll listen to it for the next 6 weeks.
Hey, we hear often Callahan uses it. If you think Kirk uses it a lot, Callahan's a fuck machine.
Fuck Callahan.
Oh, really?
Can we do a
Next time, right?
Jerry Callahan with his, and maybe it's Dave Cullinane writing the tweets, but his fucking little preview thing where it's like, Callahan ditched the corporate stooges. It's like, dude, you fucking bowed down to them and then got fired by them, and you would work for them tomorrow if they fucking offered you the job again. So get out of here with that bullshit, Jerry Callahan. You didn't.
Well, he said he
ditch the
would.
corporate
I asked
stooges.
him
They
if
fucking
he would
shit
go back
canned
to-
you. Exactly, Mike.
I asked me if he'd go back to EI for the same money. He said, yeah.
He's acting like he did what Kirk did in terms of kicking and screaming and fucking fighting his way out of there when he did not do that. Jerry Callahan.
Will you guys
played
listen to the
ball.
Jerry Callahan podcast?
I will listen to it. Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm.
But I love Andy swinging his dick all over the forum first.
Yeah,
Good
but I'm
for
a fan.
you.
But
But yeah, well, listen. Fuck him, but I'll absolutely listen to it.
All right, boys. Well,
right.
thanks for coming on. We're going to
right.
switch over to the second half of the program
All
here,
right.
but all
Thanks,
three
Mike.
will definitely be back
Thanks,
at some
Mike.
point. Thanks, boys.
Thanks, Mike.
So as we get Lauren, AJ, and Matt in here, let me first tell you about my friends at the Broken Tee. TheBrokenTee.com. Broken Tee Virtual Golf is a tremendous virtual golf facility with multiple full swing virtual screens. They've got 40 world famous courses that you've always wanted to play on, but maybe you've just never been able to travel to. Well, this winter, make sure you travel to Lakeville, Massachusetts for the Broken Tee Virtual Golf. Also, they've got a league you can join as well if you want to socialize, maybe tip back some of their craft brew selection. That's what'll get me there. A drunk like me, if you're going to convince me to golf, I got to have a few wobbly pops. So that's what I would go to the Broken Tee Virtual Golf for. But also, the important thing is, Mike and the Minifans listeners, when you call or show up at their facility in Lakeville at 166 County Road in Lakeville, Mass, make sure you mention that you listen to Mike and the Minifans. They'll give you 10% off on gift certificates or lessons with PGA professional Mark Kitchen, who is also a big Minifan. So make sure you support Broken Tee Virtual Golf because they support this show, run by Minifans, and because it's a hell of a time. You can go swing the fucking whack the club, whether you're blind or sighted. Broken Tee Virtual Golf is a hell of a spot to tip a few back, do some golfing, do some drinking, and buy gifts for the family. Christmas is coming up. You want to make sure that any golfers in your family or people who might just like to have a good time, a little physical activity indoors in the winter, then go to thebrokenTee.com or Broken Tee Virtual Golf in Lakeville, Massachusetts. Give them a call. The phone number is on the screen there. Or show up in Lakeville, Mass. Or, as Justin would have you do, just start driving around. Maybe you'll stumble upon it. Just wander on down the road. Doesn't matter what town it's in. Just find it. Just find it and show up. Google it. Justin would tell you. It's on you to find Broken Tee Virtual Golf. All right? Now we've got the second half of the program here. It was supposed to be ladies' night, but very suspiciously, Blind Mike's groupie bailed. You know what, gang? I'm starting to think she might not be real. I don't know what's giving me that suspicion. She bails on me every goddamn time. Am I getting catfished here, folks? Lauren, Matt, AJ, what's happening?
Hey, what's going on, Mike?
Hi.
Matt's I guess Lauren's a regular now too, but Matt's a true regular. This is your third time on.
It is, but how about that Patrick, huh? He's a fucking lightning rod.
He really is. I like Patrick. He's good. Patrick, here's what I like Patrick for. He may not be a Spitfire, and he may be very forgettable. I forget he was even on. But I like him because I think the Discord holds a lot of information, and he is the keeper of that. So anything going on,
every message.
he's a great reference for an encyclopedia of knowledge, I think.
He literally reads every message in there, Mike. I saw him
Exactly.
the other day. He's like, oh, I just finished like 3 hours of catching up. That's amazing.
The thing. So he probably knows more than Kirk about the show when you really think about it, because he knows fucking everything.
Definitely.
And I think once you get a song done about you, you've kind of made it. So
Yes.
I was happy to hear that he got a parody song. That was pretty exciting.
And it was a good one, too.
It was.
It was great. Yeah.
Thank God.
I was surprised. What did you guys? I was surprised at how much Kirk loved the Adul blah, 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 Seaman, whatever his name is, song. He said that's the best one. I thought it was a good one. I think it might have been more the idea that Kirk lived with this guy and hasn't thought about him in 30 years, and then he's hearing his name in a parody song.
It's the personal connection to it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was a good song. Probably could have been done better over time, but it fit perfect to that song that he used.
Yeah.
Kind of had like an exotic vibe to it. Like a
you really just wanted to get back to the chorus every time you heard it.
Yeah. I mean, I've been singing it to myself all week, so.
Yeah.
I tried, but I'm not great at the pronunciation.
Oh, if you do it enough, you'll get it.
I have to wonder, does the person writing that know, I want to use this name in a song and then find the song? Or do they take a song and say, I want to shoehorn this name in here?
Lauren, it's
me.
Lauren, it's
I'm
funny
terrible at it.
It's funny you ask that because over the Christmas break there will be a new series known as Life of the Parody, hosted by one B. Michael Geary, where I get to the bottom of that very issue. So thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, I had
I'll be excited to see that.
I had the Steve Murdered Me guys in, the guys that did Steve Murdered Me and the McLean song. And I think, I kind of treated it as like a joke interview, but I think I ended up talking to him for like half an hour, which is probably way too long. So it might get edited down a little bit. But it actually was kind of interesting to hear their process. Like, I'm curious about a lot of that shit. So you'll get to hear that over Christmas break.
I think it's genius.
AJ, there she is.
So I gotta say,
I think AJ is going to be kind of the focal point, of the center point of this hour, because AJ's sort of a controversial figure. I wanted to have Lauren on to also get the ladies' perspective, and she's a true Minifan, so I wanted Lauren in. And also, I understand that Matt is sort of an anti-AJ guy.
I'm out.
So I'm curious. I'm curious about this perspective. Here's what I think, AJ. The issue is from a lot of people with you, if you don't mind. I think people look at you so you don't listen to the show every day. Is that right?
I try to listen as often as I can, but I have a very busy day job. So it's not that I don't want to. It's just like I don't have time to listen to a 3-hour show every day.
Right. But I think so. People, I think people kind of look at that and say you're almost pretending to be a Minifan for the sake of being involved in the show. Do you think that's a fair criticism?
I think it's a fair criticism, but on my part, I really didn't know anything about the world before I kind of jumped in head first.
Right.
And now I became a fan. So, it's kind of hard to be seen both ways, I guess.
But so you jumped in head first about a month ago, and you said you haven't listened in a couple of weeks. So you've kind of listened for like a week, came on the show once.
Oh, I listened like pretty frequently. It was just this past
for how long? For how long though? A week? 2 weeks? How long were you listening for? You clearly haven't listened that long, and you're already kind of jumping ship. But everything you do is self-promoting. Like the way you came in dressed tonight, you look great, but you're self-promoting.
I'm self-promoting the show.
I mean, they kind of tell what that is.
So AJ, the criticism of you, and I can understand it, is that people think you're tweeting about the show or making videos where you reference the show purely for self-promotion. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. I could see how people think that, but I'm also just a fan, so being engaged in part of that world and engaging with those parody accounts is also just fun, and it's a sense of community.
Also, I'll tell you my actual one criticism of you, if you don't mind, is that my criticism of you would be that sometimes you take things you don't quite understand the show in the sense of, like even today, very innocent. I don't think you meant anything by it, but like you asked me earlier today, is Talib Kweli actually going to be on the show? So shit like that, where you don't necessarily know that certain things are obviously a joke. Like certain times where Kirk references you on the show, it's obviously a joke that you don't necessarily understand. I think my problem would be that you don't necessarily understand the show, which is fine, but you also comment on it even though you don't necessarily understand it.
If I may.
Go ahead,
Please.
Lauren.
like I'm really tired right now because for literally 24 hours I've been tweeting in defense of Kirk because he's being called racist
So you're
by
just
someone.
as crazy as
Yep.
Philippe Pauly.
I
I've
have
been
been
getting
on
attacked all
Twitter
day.
for 24 hours, and I take a point to look around and say who's investing in this and who's not, and it is telling when some people seem to be having a different agenda over the past day and not wanting to, like, I get very defensive when people call Kirk racist. We've dealt with it before, and I think sometimes it's showing who has been a long-term fan. And it's nothing against being a new fan, but I'm like, well, why aren't we all doing the same thing here? Because it was such a joint effort with the people that were involved, and it actually was really funny. So those are things that I look for in what you might want to call a true fan.
Okay.
And on top of that, Mike, you guys took it easy on him earlier. I'm a little offended, to be honest, because I've been getting attacked by his lackeys for the last, I don't know, 14 hours since I woke up this morning.
I'm glad you said that, because when we were talking earlier, my point was I haven't. So the guy called me. The guy called me a closeted gay white supremacist. But the thing I was amazed by is that I haven't gotten any blowback. No, I haven't heard. I mean, other than Minifans making jokes, I haven't heard a fucking peep about it.
Oh, I've been getting tortured. I was walking around TJ Maxx this morning with my head in my phone, knocking over clothing racks because I'm fighting with these people on Twitter. Well, I'm not really fighting. I mean, I know they have no idea what they're talking about. But, they post the video of Portnoy singing that song, which is really his whole basis for the racial argument. And they won't admit that there's, a difference between someone singing a song and it comes out.
What song is he talking about?
The Ja Rule and Ashanti.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I for some reason I hadn't heard what he was. I know he was referencing a song.
Yeah.
I just assumed it was the rap he made about Kevin.
It was El Prez doing some. It looked like one of those emergency press conferences, and he was singing Ja Rule and Ashanti.
And that's his reference for being a racist?
Oh, well, he drops an N-bomb in it, singing the song.
Okay. See, the one I thought was bizarre is he kept tweeting a screenshot of Tucker Carlson basically just saying Portnoy was on the show.
Yeah.
And he's like, see?
Still doing that.
Yeah, and then once, people started posting the screenshots of the headlines of him sexually harassing employees, he kind of changed his tune and was like, oh, well, what about this video of him dropping the N-bomb on YouTube?
Right.
Which he does.
It's a lot of deflection.
But should Prez have said that? Obviously not. But there's a big difference between the way he used the word.
I wouldn't say obviously not. He's fucking singing a song.
Yeah, but to do that and then post it knowing it's on, I just feel like it's questionable. It's definitely questionable because that word is the word that's off limits.
Sure, I guess, but I would say, I don't know, then what Ja Rule or whoever else is saying that this song is only for this group of people.
I agree.
Which seems more offensive to me than anything Portnoy did.
And one of my arguments is, Ja Rule at that point in time in rap was making that song for white America.
Right.
That's who, that's the broader audience. That's who's buying the albums. That's who the song is for. So to get that mad when somebody sings it and it just comes out, you're not looking at some hardcore racist using the word to put down someone of a different race.
Well, also, so let me put it this way. If you're creating a supreme race of people, I don't know that I fit in personally. I don't know that I'm the guy to start a supreme race. And quite frankly, I don't know if a lot of white supremacists would accept Dave Portnoy. It's always amazing to me when they go, Barstool is sexist and racist. It's run by a woman and a Jew.
Now, I mean, and anyone can, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this whole thing started, I think some account said something about Lizzo being fat, and somehow he got tagged in it, and someone commented at him like, oh, well, they run with the Barstool crew, no wonder.
Well, to be fair, Portnoy did make a joke about Lizzo not that long ago.
But
it's all. I mean, it wasn't a racist joke.
Yeah, exactly. she's a voluptuous woman. She's beautiful, but like whatever, you can say things about her in jest, and they don't have to be taken seriously. Where now all of a sudden, these 1,000 people are the most vile racists on planet Earth just because they don't agree with you.
But you know what's amazing to me? I mean, I mentioned this in the first half, but you guys mentioned AJ not being involved in that kind of stuff, and it shows that she's a casual fan. Is that a fair assessment, AJ? You're a casual Minifan?
Well, when I was watching everything go down, I really didn't know where to jump in.
Right.
I mean, I think I liked some of your tweets and things that, like, Lauren, I liked a few of your tweets too, where you were saying things that I thought I agreed with. But I was, I was kind of trying to figure out where to jump in with that.
Let me ask you this, AJ. Do you think it's at all, and maybe this is, maybe who the fuck am I to say this, but do you think being in the trans community, when you see people saying shit like Kirk's a racist or Kirk is this or Kirk is that, Kirk is sexist, whatever, do you feel any obligation to jump in and kind of defend him since he's been good to you, or no? I do, because I feel like I've done my homework and my research, and I've done the preparation to make that stance, because I made sure I was like researching the fundraiser. I was listening back to old shows. I was talking with people like John Featherston. That was an issue that I am related to personally. And, I've had direct communication with Kirk about, but this situation I wasn't prepared for. And I think that my words, hold value. So I want to make sure that I know what I'm getting into before I step in.
Yeah. And even I go through that when people call Kirk sexist. I feel like as a female fan of the show, it holds almost more water for me to be like, well, hold on a second. I'm a woman. I don't find him sexist at all. So I almost am eager to jump in those situations. I was called misogynistic yesterday, and I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time getting over that one. So I don't know what's happening anymore.
Yeah, I've been getting called a Nazi for the last day. So
my point was that Matt was kind of saying it pisses him off, and Lauren was saying this too a little bit. It pisses you guys off when you see someone like AJ not necessarily jumping in. How about Barstool not jumping in for the last day? I'm livid. I'm stunned by it.
Fuck El Prez. Fuck everybody at Barstool.
Well,
fuck
Portnoy
KFC.
individually. I'll say this.
Fuck KFC.
Portnoy individually might be dealing with some stuff right now.
He doesn't care. He's coming off of that better than he's looked in the past year. Are you kidding me?
Plus diversion. It could be something else.
That's what I said is, if anything, this would get kind of people off of that. People to stop thinking about the Portnoy sex tape thing, because now genuinely a legendary rapper is going after a Barstool show, and no one's fucking talking about it. It's unbelievable to me.
I can't believe, KFC being like the New York guy. This should be his guy, Talib Kweli. He's from Brooklyn. Like, I'm sure Kevin's on his dick, and that's why he's keeping his mouth shut.
Yeah, maybe the thing is they want Talib Kweli as a guest at some point, so they don't want to piss him off. Well, no,
if you want this guy as a guest, that can't be it.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I'm a fucking idiot. That can't be it. He's not calling the Kirk Minahan show racist. He's calling Barstool racist.
Yes.
So he's never going to come in as a guest.
He's never going on.
Exactly. He's not. Yeah, he doesn't. He's not a rational human being. You wouldn't want him on as a guest if you could get, you guys, because you guys could handle him. I honestly think that he just says so much outlandish shit. He would maybe eat anyone up at Barstool because they just wouldn't know how to handle it. That seems like a guy who could just go in and talk for 45 minutes. And when you come out the other end, you've been called a Nazi and a racist 200 times, and you didn't get 2 words in.
Well, Matt, let me recommend this to you. When we're done here, Google or just search on YouTube, Jim and Sam Talib Kweli, because he does an interview with them where he talks about getting suspended from Twitter and going after people and calling Trump supporters racist on Twitter and all this shit. And I disagree with, like I said in the first half, I disagree with about 95% of what he says. But he seems like a reason-minded guy. He doesn't seem like this guy that we're seeing now that is basically just using Black Power Mad Libs and inserting different Twitter, inserting Steve Robinson's bed and breakfast.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's been going back and forth with Kirk's desk and 2 different Steve's bed and breakfasts who are inviting him to ice fishing trips. And it's like, dude, do you not understand that people are fucking with you? It doesn't make any sense.
He responded to Blind Mike's groupie, who said, "You seem like a Discord guy," and he replied, "No."
He's not all there. I mean, he's a race baiter. That's what he is. That's what he does. That's all the people who follow him and actually respond that aren't Russian robots. That's what they do. They search for things that they can go social justice crazy on and try to put down another group of people.
It seems very Murchison.
I'm sorry?
That AJ?
It seems very Murchison, you know? It's
yeah,
like,
but I mean,
don't listen to the show. They're just kind of jumping in to take someone down publicly. And like he had one point that I agreed with, which is like obviously white people shouldn't be saying the N-word, even if it's in songs. You know, it's up for debate if that makes someone racist if they sing a song and say that lyric. But
well, he said it on Twitter, which is the bizarre thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, the whole attack that I got, I may have accidentally brought it on myself. I sent a tweet at Talib and I had a typo. And I meant to say I'm not trying to defend Portnoy saying it, but I accidentally left that not out and said I am defending his right to say it. And that's when I got jumped on, but I didn't notice it until he retweeted it. So at that point, I was toast.
Oh, so the other thing I didn't mention, here's the bizarre thing. Why is he using the old school Twitter style of writing RT and then typing out what the person said?
That was weird. I was like,
yeah, I don't even know. I'm fairly new to Twitter, so that's not even something I'm aware of.
So that's how it used to be. You couldn't quote tweet people. If you wanted to like quote tweet someone, you would write what you wanted to write and then write RT at Kirkman Show, blah, blah, blah.
And you guys are talking about, how few engagements his tweets, your tweets were getting to him.
Yeah.
I looked at my the tweet activity on a tweet that he retweeted. It had like 460 views and like 80 impressions, and it had like 40 likes of all parody accounts.
He has 1 million followers. The
and
only thing I can think of.
And it was 3 hours prior to the posting. So it's like, dude.
And again, I can't emphasize enough. This is a big name in like this is not a guy that bought followers. Like he genuinely has 1 million followers. So
they probably don't want to listen to his bullshit.
It's got to be it. He must do this all the fucking time.
Yeah, they just have muted him or tuned him out at this point.
From what I hear, his podcast has some nice reviews coming its way.
Right. Does he have a podcast?
Oh, yeah. I don't know the name of it offhand, but he does have one up there.
You're trying to get down to 1 star on iTunes or something.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like a news, politics, like.
Oh, of course.
I can't imagine it being very good.
Party something, Matt. Is that right? No, I don't know.
Boy, are we three whites trying to figure this out?
Sorry, but the best part of it is like when I'm involved in a Twitter exchange like that, I'm not a very funny person, so I'm getting into like the serious how I feel about this, why I think it's wrong, and I have someone coming up behind me like, "Hey, Talib, you want me to make you some blueberry pancakes, or could you win a hot dog eating contest?" So I'm like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be really hot right now or be laughing this off, but
I think it's good to have it's good to have people like that kind of maintaining the actual point, but it's also like we're on hour fucking 27 or whatever it is now. You can't do that for a full day without making a few wisecracks about it.
I can't believe it. It's going in circles for 24 hours. Oh my goodness.
But back to AJ. AJ, I feel like you're a little uncomfortable with the criticisms of you, or no?
No, I'm actually very excited to talk about them.
So what's your relationship with Rich Kelleher currently?
Right now, we're just kind of friends. I don't really talk to him about anything show related, which is something that I kind of advocated for after Kirk asked him to step out of the world. So I think the last time I heard from him about the show was I think about the race for Secretary of State, where he asked me like, "Can I give you some show advice?" And I said, "I guess."
Do you think the way Kelleher's treated is fair, or do you have any problem with it?
That's so. I love Rich. I love him as a friend.
Do you think it's been unfair that he's been kind of kicked out of the world a little bit, or no?
No, I had some concerns about some things, and I had some conversations with you about this as well. As obviously, with stickers, that's copyrighted content that is involving monetary transactions.
Yeah, shit, he can't be doing.
So that's just business, But
also, so here's my problem with Kelleher. Is the thing I've been hearing a lot is, but now multiple people have reached out to me and shown me screenshots and whatever that say they've sent him money and they got no stickers in return. So that's my problem, is that in some way I think he was profiting off that, which really bugs me. And then lying about
I
it.
haven't seen the money. I haven't seen the receipts. I kind of stayed out of that, especially when right after I went on the show, when he was feuding with, Justin and Will, I was trying to completely stay out of that. So I think Rich has good intentions. I think I don't agree with how combative he gets on Discord and on Twitter. So,
Lauren, do you think that's fair?
I think he's a super fan, but I think he, I don't know.
Yeah, this is the first I've heard about like the money with this stickers thing. I mean, I don't think he said, I'm going to try to rip people off. Maybe something went bad. I
Right.
don't know. So
And I don't know either. I've heard it from multiple different people.
Right. And it's too bad if it had to go like that. I see he's active on Twitter quite a bit again. I would almost suggest, like, if you want to be involved, maybe come back as a parody account for a while, and no one even has to know it's you, and then you can, interact as much as you want. I don't know if there's a desperation to have your name put on everything, but if you were asked to take some space, I think it's best to do that, and it's easy enough. Tons of people are anonymously involved in the show on a daily basis.
Exactly.
So.
I agree.
It's a much higher percentage that we never hear from, that will never be on Mike and the Minifans or Great Thinkers or any of that. A much higher percentage of people just listen and you never hear from them. And there's certain people where when they're kicked out or they can't handle it or whatever it is, I don't understand why that is. And even the people that, like, we were talking on the first half about people critical of the show, like there are a million podcasts I listen to. Like I listen to Tom Segura and Christina Pazitsky do a show called Your Mom's House, which is very funny. But lately, I haven't loved it. I think they kind of changed their style, and I don't like it. You don't know that about me because I don't fucking tweet about it nonstop. I don't tweet at them and say, what the fuck is this? I just quietly have gone away and will check back in eventually. And it's kind of bizarre to me that more people aren't able to do that, I guess.
I think in terms of Rich, I think he's very 0 to 100. I think he is a super fan, and like I genuinely know he loves and respects Kirk. And I think as much as people thought it was a conspiracy that I was part of his redemption arc, he genuinely wanted to offer that piece, like that olive branch to Kirk, of like having me step in and talk about the trans situation and like kind of ally with Kirk on that. So I kind of see how people were saying that it was part of his redemption arc, but he kind of he wasn't really talking about the trans issue after that. It was, the stickers.
Rich is an opportunity.
And then I was like, okay, step back. I was like,
yeah. Matt, I don't know how much of that you heard, but do you
not a lot?
Have...
I just heard Rich, but I mean, every chance that he gets to interject himself into a situation, like, within the last 24 hours, he's trying to rap battle Talib Kweli, and he's putting videos out asking for like a public forum with Talib Kweli. Like, I think we're at the point where he knows he has no right contacting anybody on behalf of the show. So I don't know why he's attaching his, putting his Twitter out there saying, oh, come debate me so we can discuss and, further bring together our two sides of the argument.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Get out of here. Go make your sign for College Game Day that I didn't see, I don't think was there. So I just don't want him thinking that he speaks for the Minifans anymore.
So the part you kind of missed is I was asking AJ about kind of her. She's friends with Rich and loves him and all that, which is fine with me. But I was curious what the regular Minifans that are kind of bothered by some of the stuff AJ has done or Rich has done. What is your perspective on her relationship with Kelleher? Is that where kind of the majority of your hesitance with her comes in?
My view on all of that, I kindly think he used you to try to get himself back into the world because
which I don't disagree with, by the way.
Okay. He kind of knew that your story would strike a chord with what's going on with the show. And I mean, you were great. You did an unbelievable job on the show. And I think he knew you would do that. And I think he looked at it like, oh, well, this is my chance to redeem myself.
I'm not denying that it was opportunistic, but I've been working with Rich for a year just on my own personal brand and being a trans advocate. So he kind of, it was opportunistic, but I don't think it was completely malintentioned.
Does that bother you at all though, AJ, that he kind of had this secret thought of like, oh, if I get her on the show, then maybe that'll mean I'm back or something like that?
Well, no, because we had been, and this is something that I tweeted out, is we had been talking about this situation like a long time before any of that became an issue.
So you knew it might benefit him, or?
Well, so he was sending me, when this was starting to be discussed, the trans event in Murchison and everything was discussed back in October. I was getting texts from him saying, you need to listen to the show. I'm helping like do the social media, whatever. And this was way before like he kind of had his like fall from grace with the show. So,
well, I don't know how much grace there ever was.
Okay. I mean, but I wasn't like in the world to like see everything that was going on at that point. So, and I understand why people, I mean, I can't, it's like there was an expectation after I was on the show to be as like super fan as like Matt from Providence. Like I totally respect you and Lauren. Then like, you know, I'm a fan, but like I, you know, probably am not like as super fan. I don't know.
So here's my thought on AJ and why I like her, and I'm curious your thoughts on this, Matt. Is that my thought on AJ is, yes, she was kind of thrown into this by Kelleher, and he probably had some less than desirable intentions that I wouldn't really care for. And she was thrown into it, and she's not necessarily a diehard fan, but she pays attention a little bit. She doesn't fully get the show, I don't think, but I also think that's fine. Who gives a fuck? I think her intentions are to help her charity and her cause, which I appreciate, and I like that. But also, I think she kind of respects what the show does a little bit, even though she might not fully understand it. And I don't really have a problem with that. Does that make sense?
And it's I'm still very new to the world, so I'm still understanding how Kirk works and the show works and everything. But, you know, I think part of my reason is I did kind of enter the chat, as one would say, in a very tokenized way. So I think part of me trying to engage with the fans and everything after the show is to show that I am a fan now and that I'm more than just my trans advocacy. You know, I just want to be like I genuinely enjoy the friendships I've made with people in the community. And I know that people think that could be I'm using the show, but I just feel like I'm part of this community now, and I just want to be, you know, here and like rally around Kirk and everyone.
And I just feel like, you know, one thing this community values more than anything is just treating everybody the same, no matter, you know, black, white, gay, straight, anything, whatever. Yeah. And I think you were kind of thrust into an upfront position prematurely where it was like, oh, now so much is expected of AJ. And I mean, you didn't ask to be put into the Secretary of State.
I was genuinely nominated, like,
which is a very important position.
I'll do it. Like,
and you know, maybe, and that definitely wasn't your fault, but I mean, maybe people didn't really expect you to lean into it the way you did and kind of try to build off of that. Like, I know that all happened, and then like the next week, it was like, oh, AJ has a new YouTube show coming out or something along those lines, and it was, hey, Minifans, make sure to check out my show, like, you know. And I just felt it was too soon.
Let me ask you this, Matt. Why is that different from Brandy Love saying, "Hey, Minifans, check this out"? You know what I mean?
I guess you're right, but Brandy Love's established.
Sure,
she's, you know, she's a name to a broader audience where she doesn't even need to be. She doesn't need us for promotion,
right?
So I mean,
do you understand what I said a little bit though? Where it's like, yeah, I get that AJ is not a diehard fan, but she's also, I mean, she means well. I think she's nice enough and everything. Like,
oh yeah, I definitely, you know, I love.
I don't think there's anything. Here's my thing about AJ is that whereas Kelleher, there might have been. I don't know what the deal is with charging people for stickers and them not getting them. That bothers me. That type of shit bothers me. With AJ, I don't see any of that stuff. I don't think there's any malice behind anything. There's no sinister behind the scenes stuff going on.
Just our dating life. Just our dating life.
Yes, just
that's the only thing.
She's a homewrecker. Other than that,
I think if anything, it might, and I'm not trying to be rude here. It might come across as a little self-indulgent. Like,
right.
Okay. I don't really see anybody else making, you know, videos. And to be honest, the video that rubbed me the wrong way is you and the groupie had done like I don't know what it's called, I don't know what it's called, but it ended with it said like, "Thank you, Minifans," or "We love you, Minifans," and I'm almost reading that like, well, are you trying to say we're fans of you guys, or
I didn't edit that. That was BMG. I just kind of sent a clip of me like making.
What I really don't like is that she's got a
What?
nickname now. BMG. I do
Oh,
not
I didn't
care.
even know who that. I had no idea who you were. I'm sorry. Oh, I can't
Oh my
keep
god,
up.
I had people starting to call me MFP, and I was like, "Get me the fuck!" Last thing I want to do is get into it with MHB over something like that. Like, get me the
Man.
fuck away from that.
It's always beyond BMG, AJ.
But does that make sense to you, AJ? What Lauren is saying?
Yeah, no, and I really like appreciate your feedback, and like this is something that happened after, I talked with Mike about after I was on the show. Is I kind of was like, oh, there's all this attention, I don't know what to do with it, and it came across as like I was kind of like have my moment in the sun, and Mike, you were like, it's probably smart to lay low for a bit, and like I'm genuinely trying to learn. Like I am trying to build my own career.
Yeah, you have other stuff. I understand that.
Yeah.
Probably has something to do with like this is your Twitter account where, my Twitter account, I made it because I wanted to follow the show. So if you look at my timeline, 99% of my tweets are the show. 1% of my tweets are like the Patriots or something stupid that I just, saw and had a comment on. Whereas, you're just living your life through your Twitter, and the show is a small part of that. And I guess that's kind of why, when I follow Kirk's Desk, Breadline Callahan, Ned Snark, and the guys from the show, and then there's just AJ.
But is there also room for
and I'm
people
like,
that
okay, like I don't see anyone else posting like personal themselves.
Is there also room for people that kind of
account.
that casually listen to? Here's my problem, or my assessment of it, I guess, is that I think AJ maybe needs to make it clear that she's not a diehard Minifan necessarily. Whereas, because I think there's plenty of room for people that listen to the show once in a while and check into the world and then talk about other shit. I think the problem, AJ, if this makes sense, is that people look at you as someone that is claiming to be this diehard, listen every day, when you're not that.
Okay, and
go ahead, Lauren.
I mean, it's not only that, but like, and I appreciate, but like, she gets to go to lunch with you. She's brought up on the show more than anyone else, and as a casual
Lauren,
person,
you can go to lunch with me anytime. Don't you worry.
I'm gonna take you up on that if you keep saying that.
It wasn't show sponsored.
I like that Lauren says, get to go to lunch with me. Like, that's a real treat. That's awkward.
Right,
I'm on my phone half the time.
But there's truth to that, because like I've been a fan of actually Mike's and Kirk's for a long time, and even at the prayer vigil, I felt like I didn't even have business to go up and say hello to them. It took me about an hour to think like, okay, they are actually here to talk to us, and that's okay. So, and then I hear things about like, oh, well, we're talking to people all the time, and I'm like, oh, are people parts of the show, or are they fans of the show? And sometimes the lines seem a little bit blurred, and maybe that's because with the newer people, like the WEEI days weren't like that. There was Twitter and parody accounts, but it's nothing like this where there's true interaction. So the older fans might I don't feel like that's my place. I feel like I tweet about the show and I support, but I'm not next level. Yes, I have the first lady title, but I think that's funny, so I tweet about it. Yeah. But I'm very stay in my lane. So I think sometimes there's confusion between those two pieces.
Can I say something?
Please.
Oh,
I completely understand where you're coming from. For me, in my relationship, like with Mike, as a friend, because I hadn't like listened to the show a ton before I went into the studio and I met them. And then I genuinely just had like a really good experience with them. And then Mike was honestly like kind of a mentor for me after, with like everything that went down about the Rich situation, about,
very wise man.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I kind of became like, your friend. And like, I even through my breakup, you were like, I would call you and be like, this is what's going on, because Kirk's like, AJ's MIA from Twitter, and I'm like crying in a hotel room, like with my mom, like, you know what I mean? So it's like, I respect you as a friend, and like that's why I had lunch with you. It has nothing to do with me trying to get back on the show.
Let me ask you this, AJ.
I support
On
you.
a scale, just for the fans out there, put this to rest. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much sexual tension was there at that lunch that day?
Uh-oh.
She can't answer that.
Is that a
You're
good
in
pause or a bad
Why don't
pause?
you answer that? I'm single now. I can do whatever I want.
You're damn right. I'm saying about a 9. Is that about accurate?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. See?
Uh-oh, Mike.
This is a very yeah, that's right. I mean, there's a lot of chemistry here, is what I'm saying, and I don't think that can be ignored. You know, Rich Kelleher or no Rich Kelleher, you can't deny chemistry. That's what I say. I was just taking an uncomfortable turn. I was kidding, of course. I have a girlfriend who I love, and
Oh man.
well, this is taking an
Mike.
uncomfortable turn. Let me ask you this, gang. We brought up MHB a little bit ago, and Lauren, as a diehard Minifan, Matt from Providence is a guy that replaced him as Secretary of State. I like on Mike and the Minifans, this Secretary of State position has been taken very seriously, which I like.
Yes.
What is your take on MHB coming in and out and the weird behavior he's displayed in the last couple of weeks?
I mean, I like MHB. I know Kirk is really down on him right now, but he does have that way about him where he just kind of cowers away in a big situation. He'll put up a big fight and then all of a sudden back down and he's, oh, no, you're right. That, like, yeah, whatever. And he'll go away. But like today, he's been on the front lines with us with Talib. He's been going hard at him. Right. And he's going back. He's digging up old tweets. He's pulling up inconsistencies. And he's
old MHB.
Point.
Yeah.
That's what he's good at.
Right.
And, you know, it's reminiscent of the stuff that you hear about him from back in the day where he was fighting on everyone's behalf. But it's, you know, if he's too busy, he's too busy. But I don't think he needs to just completely hang him up. Do what you're doing right now. Come in for a little bit. Back us up when we need it. Go away. But there can be a balance.
Lauren is one of the more level-headed Minifans in my mind. What do you think of MHB?
You know, it's funny because last night when this whole Twitter thing had started, I actually did think to myself, I said, gosh, this would be right up his alley. And then at 10 a.m. after I'd been at it for, 10 hours or whatever, here he comes. I'm like, oh, MHB's here. I could take a break finally. So
rides in on his white horse.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate him in that situation. I'm having a really hard time with when he decided to come out of retirement after he had been retired for a week. He came back really lashing out at the wrong people. And I don't understand it. I still don't understand it. Because then he went on the show with you guys. And I'm like, okay, everything's fine. We can all get past this. But like, if I were, and I'm not speaking for him, but if like I were DEC, I'd still be like, you know what, I'm all set with this guy. I think
he is. I think DEC just about is all set. Yeah.
Hey guys, not to interrupt this, but it happened.
What's that? What happened?
Oh my god!
Can you see the screen?
Stop!
El Prez is fucking Stella.
Yeah, but I don't think we can show that.
Oh no!
Yeah, we definitely cannot show that. We might get kicked off YouTube.
Oh no!
Now listen. I find that to be very inappropriate. I wish you hadn't shown that. I can't. This is live television, folks. I can't control that type of stuff. But
and I'm speechless for the second time in this 1 hour segment.
It was a
time in like 8 minutes.
There's no private parts visible. It's perfect.
That's the beautiful thing about that sex tape. No private parts. Awfully convenient, as my friend PFT said. Awfully convenient.
Softest hardcore porn I've ever seen.
Yes, a great way to put it.
Prez gave permission to distribute, so.
Oh, did he?
Oh yeah, I guess TJ Hubbard had to put in like a request to get it approved, and he's put something up there showing that like Prez said yes to make it a GIF.
What a bizarre world this is.
Oh yeah.
Did he use Roman?
I love it.
I think he certainly did. I think Portnoy definitely did. He's a company guy. I think he definitely did.
I mean, he leading into it pretty hard, but how did they not slap a Roman like logo on the corner of that thing right away and just let it go?
Genius, Matt from Providence. I don't know. I don't know why they aren't doing stuff like that. Or Trojan condoms or any of their fine sponsors.
Your thought on MHB before we move on?
Go ahead.
So I reached out to him originally when I was on
He'll
the
hate this,
show.
by the way, but go ahead.
What?
I said he'll hate your opinion on him, but go ahead.
Okay, well, I mean, I reached out to him since and never heard a response, so I feel like it's fair game.
Go ahead.
When I was on the show at first, he was claiming that I was like a plant from like Rich, and and then I kind of sent him receipts and talked with him, and he basically told me, he's like, I believe you. But then last week when he was on your show, and like right at the last like 2 seconds when you mentioned like us, like BMG and I getting bumped, he was like, well, I have some words for them because I think they're both Murchison plants. And I sent him a message after that saying like, I'm not a Murchison plant, but if we need to talk about it, like we can talk about it. My messages are open. Never heard anything again. So that's my experience with him.
Oh, well, I mean, that's also, I mean, I don't know about that specifically, but my problem with MHB is you kind of get one guy over text and you get a different guy, or even when you're talking to him, and sometimes you get a different guy via social media. But the interesting thing about that is I don't think it's fake with him. I think he genuinely flies off the handle and then kind of we brought it up in the first half, but you could pretty much just listen to the first half of the show for if you want any entertainment value. But
I did.
but he said he'll fly off the handle. It's like Cullinane. He'll fly off the handle and then walk it back and go, I'm a fucking idiot. I'm sorry. And that's the bizarre thing about MHB, but it's kind of what makes him him. Yeah.
You gotta own it. Gotta go after it. If you're gonna attack somebody, you gotta stick by it all the way. Or, you're gonna end up in his shoes where he is right now. Everything that he's doing gets questioned, whether or not he's genuine, and wants nothing to do with them. But he'll be back. I mean, it's only a matter of time before his services could be of use. He'll come up in a big way.
Like, fucking respond. I mean, like, if he's gonna take a shot at me and then I confront him about it and he ignores me, it's kind of like, well, you're just taking a cheap shot because you were on the show.
Oh, you know what, Justin? At the end of the show, we'll take any questions any of the chat has about AJ. Like, because I don't want to look like I'm avoiding anything. So, if anyone listening has any questions for AJ or anyone else, fire away. Justin will make note of them.
We'll get a question too, AJ.
We'll get to them at the end of the show.
Okay.
Were you serious on Twitter the other day when you said that you were Smugsy?
No.
Or I couldn't tell if that was sarcasm or not. All right, cool.
No, I was trolling.
There was
Smugsy
a little irony there. Because,
speaking of fucking nuts. Cynthia Dill is just a fucking asshole. Like, I
haven't even.
I shouldn't even say her name because she's so irrelevant. But just fuck her.
I haven't seen anything. I haven't looked. I haven't cared.
Well,
I mean, she's
the idea that
little,
she's. Yeah, please.
I have a little story about that. So amidst the Twitter stuff going on yesterday, I pop into Discord and it was pretty late. It was after 11 o'clock, and somebody, I don't remember who it was, so I apologize, said something along the lines of, if Smugsy jumps in on this, I think we should let her back into the world. So I said, oh, that's interesting. I go over to Twitter, and I'm not kidding you. 3 minutes later, Smugsy's first tweet comes out addressing the situation.
So you know her name in Discord?
No,
Dox her.
No, I don't, because the person who mentioned this said if she's lurking, she should tweet something about it. And 3 minutes later, boom, there was a tweet. So
what did she say? Was she pro Tlaib or against?
I think she was trying to tie it into Trump. I took some screenshots of it, though, because I did find that very interesting. I try to keep my eye on people that I feel like I should keep my eye on. We'll put it that way.
Did any of you listen to her last little podcast? What was it like?
I don't listen to any of that shit.
Smugsy
It's psychotic.
saves
It's
Kirk
listening to a
Minahan's life
psychotic
or something.
person.
Yeah,
I won't give her the click. I just read the headline.
Yeah, fuck her. Don't. Yeah, that's exactly what you should do. Fuck her.
Yeah, I'm over that now.
Are we not in Providence? I just have some questions for you because I sent a video to you last week about after you were on the show. Like, are we good? Because
we're fine. Yeah, no.
Okay.
No. You were a great opponent in the whole race and everything. I understand you didn't ask for it.
Can we just do Spark Note it real quick? Like, what happened?
With what?
So the race, I got nominated. I didn't realize how seriously people were taking it, and then when I stepped back. I stepped back.
But that's the thing. I mean, that's why I like AJ. Is she's a sweetheart. Like, she means well. It's just that she doesn't get the show in time.
Yeah, like
you know
AJ.
What I mean?
A little too
AJ.
new here.
Yeah.
I slicked back my hair, threw on the top half of a suit, and addressed the Minifan Nation on Twitter. Like that.
Very handsome.
If you knew me outside of Twitter, you'd be like, "What the fuck? This is like it's not as serious as it." And that, you know what? That could have something to do with, you're not in it every day, so like the level of sarcasm is just, I feel like it's different than anywhere else, and it's around the clock, and you never know what's satirical and what's real, but 99% of it's satirical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting. So you're kind of bringing up if you knew you outside of the show. So this is more for Matt and Lauren, I guess.
Do we need to go on a lunch date?
What's that?
Do you need to go on a lunch date with me so we can hash things out?
I think I'm pretty far away from you, so it'd be a little difficult.
Providence?
Yeah, meet halfway.
It's an hour.
But so Lauren and Matt, I'm curious because I'm on the show. So if people I have people that will ask me about the show, but is it tough when you guys are so invested in that world to talk about it with people? Because not everyone knows about the Kirk Minahan show necessarily.
My coworkers hate me.
It's what you think about all the time. So is it tough to find someone to talk, because it's what you want to talk. I found that being on the show, it's what I want to talk about a lot.
That's why I'm here, because I don't have anyone else to talk to about it with.
Exactly.
And that's why I'm on Twitter, because I'm like, okay, these people understand me and I can go back and forth with them.
Like I had to go to a little secret Santa for my girlfriend last night, and I'm sitting around with all the boyfriends, and I'm like, so anyone listen to the Kirk Minahan show? And they don't even know who Kirk is because they're losers, obviously. And I'm just like, all right, so this golf tournament, all right, yeah. And I can't, like, we have nothing in common, me and those people.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I just don't get along in the real world anymore because the people who really understand me and like the shit that I'm into are all on Twitter and doing the same thing that I am, whether it's going after an enemy or coming up with some kind of parody or stunt for you guys to play on the show. Because when you do something and the show acknowledges it, it's like a fucking adrenaline high. You know that, Mike.
I get the opposite end of it, where it's like people will just come to me and be like, "Hey, it's cold in here. Not as cold as it'll be in Madawaska, huh?" And I'm like, come on.
Yeah, Matt and Lauren, are you guys going?
Oh, I'll be there. Yeah,
going. I was ticket number 2.
Lauren will be there too. Oh, this is good news. The whole gang will be there. I like this.
Woo!
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see Justin get lit up.
I'm insulted right now, Mike. I'm insulted right now.
What do you mean?
You didn't know I was going?
I was not 100% sure. No. Well, here's the thing. When a guy like DEC isn't going, that makes you wonder, is anyone going to show up? If the president isn't going, it causes unrest in the world,
Speaking of DEC, great topic. I had a couple issues with his interview of Erica the other day, as you know.
Well, so did Justin, as he let the fucking world know. Guy can't get a video on YouTube for me, but I'll tell you his hot takes on goddamn DEC.
He was late to the game, though.
No, what are your issues with his interview with Erica?
I
Other
feel
than
like
the obvious sound quality.
Well, that was bad, but I feel like there were a couple directions he could have gone that weren't, peppering her with difficult questions. But I would have liked to know a little bit about her relationship with K. Marco and how she feels about him potentially censoring stuff that doesn't deserve to be censored.
I would have liked to hear that too, I guess.
Because, that's their brand. Their brand is being on the edge. And if you're going to start taking that away, then it's, not to put words in your mouth, Mike, but, it's not who they used to be.
I would never say anything like that. That's crazy talk. But I will say, so I was mostly kidding because I thought DC would do a great job, and I think he did do a great job with Erica. But I think that's what MHB would have brought to that. Is he would have asked about K. Marco, he would have asked about Willie Colon, he would have asked about maybe the me and Portnoy, Tommy Smokes thing.
Yep.
MHB would have brought that to the table, which I thought was an interesting element. Now, I also like what DEC did. Because I'm also interested in that. I'm interested in why they have a relationship with Sirius. I'm interested in the business end of Barstool. So I can understand kind of saying, like, why didn't you get more into the weeds? But I just don't think that's what DEC is.
Yeah, no, understandable. And now, there is one thing. Have you heard of this this Twitter account, KMS Report?
I'm sure I've seen it at some point.
I don't know if it's like a parody of trying to have sources or if it's legit, but I don't know if you saw this. They tweeted out today that they may or may not be able to get their hands on tape of Dirty Mike rapping on stage?
Yeah, no. I mean, I can let this live if you guys want, but I hate to say, not true.
Not true.
Unfortunately.
You've rapped on the show before.
I mean, what's that?
You've rapped on the show before.
I have rapped on the show before. I rapped a little Eminem for the people. But, I mean, unless I was completely shit-faced.
It said in Northampton.
Unless I was completely shit-faced and I have no memory of going to Northampton and I never saw the tape afterwards.
So that's fair.
Yeah, so I don't think it exists, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, if you've got it, I say any tape of me, go for it. Feel free.
I saw the tape of you the other day for the first time at Fenway on Truck Day.
Yeah,
that was unbelievable. That was great.
Oh, I loved that video. I thought I was watching Jackass. I thought the old man on the scooter was going to get up and beat you, and I was actually rooting for that because that was excellent.
Probably the best promotion radio.com has ever got.
No, yeah, that was a fun watch.
I was talking to at least 40 people. I can't imagine that many listen to radio.com.
No, there'll be country music all over that thing inside of 5 years.
Yeah, boy, how irrelevant is EEI now? Jesus Christ. And here's here's an interesting thing that came up on the show is when we called 98.5 and we put that clip out.
That was great.
Yesterday or whatever. We called 98.5 and the guy goes, "Oh, is this Kirk?" And he laughs about it. If EEI did that once, I mean, maybe it's not over because Kirk still holds a lot of hostility towards them. But I mean, at least for that show or that person, Kirk's like, "Oh, now I like these guys."
It's over. Yeah,
it's over. Like
lean into it a little bit.
Even that thing, we could, if that was handled differently, it could have led to an hour of us shitting on Toucher and Rich. But instead, that guy handled it right. He admitted he likes Kirk, and he laughed about it. And we're like, well, fuck it. They're probably not. I'm sure they're real calls. They're not fake calls.
But if those calls were fake, it could have gone a completely different direction.
Of course.
If they started getting defensive, now all of a sudden they're an enemy, and we're prank calling Toucher and Rich every morning off the hook.
Of course. Justin, do we get anything for AJ or Matt or Lauren or anyone else?
Yeah, we want to know. Someone asked about Uncle Dino getting kicked off the Discord.
Uncle Dino's been kicked off the Discord.
He was very controversial on there, wasn't he? He was constantly.
So what happened? I don't know about this.
I'm not entirely sure, but they said the Minifans they lost their biggest weapon and now they're paying.
The Minifans have lost their biggest weapon. So why was Uncle Dino kicked? Why was he kicked out?
I don't get into Discord a lot, so I apologize. I don't.
Lauren, it's cool. All right, don't worry.
I'm in Discord maybe 10 minutes a day just to see if anything wild happened.
No, that's not the same person as Uncle Dino on Twitter, so it's not the same.
Oh, what a confusing world!
You should have your Twitter name in Discord because it gets confusing.
I agree. It does get very confusing.
Yeah.
I assume there's got to be a Blind Mike in Discord, right? Blind Mike _ I would think there's got to be one.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely got to be one.
There's
15 to 20 Blind Mics in there. Cameo Blind Mike. Blind Mike.
You know what Twitter account died out? My first parody account ever. Kind Mike. I was very disappointed. I don't hear from them anymore. It's very
disappointing. Take the hint. Maybe you're not so kind anymore.
Maybe I'm not nice enough anymore.
Now, Mike, tell me something. So you guys I've heard, everyone's heard the estimates around 100,000 downloads an episode or whatever. How many people, if you had to guess, do you think are like active on Twitter within the world? Would you say it's upwards of 1,000?
What do you mean active?
Like fans who are like in the trenches on Twitter every day, reposting.
Well, put it this way. I think the amount of people that Talib Kweli was dealing with, I would say probably over 1,000.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Like when we mobilized.
Because that's such a small percentage of the show. The people that are going to do that is such a small percentage of the people that listen every day.
Yeah.
But
so when you look at 1,000, it's crazy.
I couldn't imagine listening to this show and not being on Twitter. I feel like you'd be missing out on a lot.
Oh, you miss at least half of what happens.
The inside jokes and half the time you guys are commenting on stuff that went on. I'm like, how can people?
It is weird, but I'll tell you this, Lauren. As a guy that listened to Opie and Anthony, they would reference something called Pal Talk a lot. This is before the days of Twitter and everything. They would reference whatever instant feedback they used. That they kind of had I mean, something sort of similar where it was like the diehard fans kind of on a thread communicating with them. And they would reference it enough that as me, a person that had no idea what the fuck they were talking about, I still got the reference. Like if you listen enough, you still get it even if you're not on Twitter, I think.
I mean, that night that I found Dulcie Warang Simon was like the funniest night on Twitter in recent memory. Like Steve from Providence. How did you do that, by the way?
Did you just look up is his yearbook just online or?
Yeah, but I was just guessing at years based on Kirk's age, and I kept going. For some reason, I was like, oh, maybe he, his parents sent him to prep school freshman year and then realized he can't be away from home, or he went to get away from some trouble.
Or 16 or something.
So he like, it looks like he repeated his senior year. So it was in 94 he went there, and I ended up finding it, and I found Kirk's picture first, and it was so funny. He just looks like a weasel. It's unbelievable.
As I said on the show, he looks like a guy that's saying, "Yeah, I stole your money. What the fuck of it?
Oh,
what do you want?
yeah.
What do you want from me?"
Jerking off all over pillow sheets, and he sounds like a disgusting teenager.
He makes it out to be. I mean, now Jerry Callahan says that I don't question him enough. I'm too gullible. I believe him too often, but I don't.
I got some questions for Jerry Callahan. That guy, he's a weirdo. That whole him washing his shorts in the pool in Florida.
The pool in Florida. This is my favorite Jerry story.
That is disgusting. He's a weirdo.
I think my favorite Jerry story is the one Kirk tells about opening the underwear at a Target or wherever they were, and he goes, "They're always trying to screw you."
The sizes. They never put the right sizes on these things.
This is a good question for AJ, I think. Now that I don't know how much of Jerry you've heard on the show, but as someone who's kind of a casual Minifan that knows maybe very little about Jerry, I don't know, would you be interested in listening to his podcast?
Well, I was listening to the past two shows today, and I guess I have to come out as a Mincel because everyone's saying that Mincel means that I found him during the podcast.
Sure.
I was listening to the clip about him like talking about Tom Brady, and I was like, "Wait, that's it?" Like
that's what he does.
You wouldn't be interested, yeah?
No.
Well, maybe,
but you pair him with Kirk, and it's unbelievable. It's some of the best content you're going to get.
It's great. I will say, Kirk made that show, of course, and obviously, that. But also, Jerry's a fucking legend. Like, I do want to hear. I hope it's not Brady talk because there's so many issues, and the one I pointed to on the show was, I think Mutt and Callahan were still on the air when the Jesse Smollett thing happened. And I turned on Mutt and Callahan the next morning because I was like, I cannot wait to hear what Jerry says. And I assume they weren't allowed to talk about it, maybe, because they thought it was too hot an issue. But stuff like that, I can't wait to get Jerry's voice back because he's such a fucking curmudgeon. And I can relate to that. I love it. So Jerry's voice is one that has been missed as much as we kind of mock what he's doing. I hope he handles it right. I hope Cullinane knows what the fuck he's doing, trying to manage that. But
I would have to think everybody's favorite thing about Jerry, that like the great Kevin Cullen, he's always been a fighter. And with Cullinane's not going to fight with him on that show. He's going to roll over and he's just going to yes man him to death.
Well, that's what people say about me and Steve, though.
Yeah, but you guys have I don't want to say Dave doesn't have any substance to him, but like, for instance,
God forbid,
you got the whole mom thing going on that's been going on for a while. It's funny. Steve's life is just like a treasure trove of ridiculous shit that I honestly feel like we're blessed for having him because he has given me countless hours of just hysterical laughter over the insane stuff that he's encountered in his life that he just thinks is completely normal. And we all look at it like this guy's out of his fucking mind. So
it is bizarre. Like Steve on the surface is a pretty boring guy, but when you dig the half an inch deeper,
it's unbelievable. He's the most interesting man in the world, and he's only 30 years old.
Yeah.
And we grew up together.
Can't wait to read a Steve Robinson book one day.
Well, maybe someday.
Maybe.
Who knows? Justin, anything else in the chat going on?
Where did your tree go?
Where did my tree go? Well, it's the Christmas season. The tree has been moved to the living room.
So do you keep the tree in here, like in July?
Well, the tree is part of the set, really. but I allow it to be moved to the living room for Christmas time. I'm glad people caught on to that.
Getting to the bottom of the important things.
Really
here.
getting to the nitty gritty here. No, well, here's my question for you guys: is should I have Justin go get me another beer, or should we call it a wrap here? That's the question. Because I feel like we're having a good time, but I also feel like we're winding down. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm good with whatever, man. I could, my girlfriend's sitting upstairs waiting for me. So
any other thoughts on AJ? Matt, as a guy that came in hot about AJ, how do you feel about her after having kind of talked out with her a little bit?
It wasn't necessarily hot. I mean, you got to play it up a little bit, but I think we did a good job of working out the kinks and kind of figuring out where she's at. Now there's no misunderstanding where, we know what the deal is. We know what's going on.
Do the Minifans in the chat seem to agree, Justin, or no? What are their thoughts on AJ? If you've seen any,
kind of not big fans, but these
not big fans.
Who are talking
sure. What are their thoughts? What are they saying?
Well, someone asked she seems to be doing a lot of eyes and knees. Like, why has everything this hour been all about you?
Well, to be fair, I'm asking about. I mean, I understand that, but I am asking about her directly, so I get it. Any other good questions?
AJ, MHP thinking you as a Murchison plant was obviously a joke. Is this another example of you just not getting the gist of the show?
Could you hear that at all, AJ?
Yeah, and I saw that comment too, and I agree. Okay, it was a joke. I'm still, no, that's a very fair criticism. That I sometimes still struggle with knowing what's a joke and what's not, and that's all.
That would be my big criticism of you would be.
Mike, do they hate me? Hello.
my big criticism of you would be knowing that a lot of it's a fucking joke and not overreacting to it or not asking me, hey, I saw this kind of goes this goes for MHB as well. If you see something on KMS quotes or a clip on the show, don't immediately assume someone's talking shit about you or someone's out to get you. Just maybe listen to the show and get the context for it.
All right. I'm always like, give me the spark notes, Mike. I'm at work.
Yeah.
You're I'm busy.
All right, guys. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Well, if I could ask AJ, because you had done, you've referred to her as the Blind Mike's groupie, who isn't here, and I was, afraid that I scared her off, to be honest, but I'm not sure about that because you guys kind of seem to be almost collaborating a little bit. Is that something you're?
That is true. That's interesting.
Blind Mike's groupie and I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, she right after they made the joke about Kirk didn't want to hear parody songs anymore. He wanted to see parody porn. I got a DM from Blind Mike's groupie saying, "Hey, it'd be really funny if there was a clip of you and I cutting paper with scissors, and then she put it up as Blind Mike's groupie and AJ scissor." It was just a funny thing.
I saw that, but I was just wondering if that's something you're gonna continue doing.
No,
or
I haven't heard from her since, honestly.
No,
because she's not real, I don't think.
Well, Matt, you may make a fine point. I suspect she's not real as well. Although she was going to come on the show last week, I don't know. Maybe
she was going.
Right, very interesting, very convenient.
And it sounded like she was until Wednesday, ready to come on today. So it is a little confusing. And this is another one where I find it to be very self-indulgent for someone who has literally been on Twitter and around in this world for about 3 months, took about a 1-month hiatus, and gets as much, is so adored for making what I would consider surface level, predictable, just sexualized jokes.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Basically, you're saying we don't respect the Lauren Lyns of the world enough, which I would agree with.
Yeah, because it's hard to try to maintain being interesting without just being so obvious. And when it comes to someone who seems very fair weather, it's a little disappointing.
Right.
I agree.
Does that make sense, Adrian?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that about you. I didn't say that about
We've really come to a grinding halt here. Listen, gang. Matt's got a girlfriend upstairs to tend to. I'm sure everyone else has people in their lives to tend to. So we've done plenty of time here. And I would say thank you guys for coming on. I would say this is a show full of regulars. I don't know about AJ because she doesn't listen to the show, so maybe not her, but the rest of them. Lauren Lynn, Matt from Providence. Again, people were critical of Patrick as well. He's a little quiet, but I think
He's very quiet.
he holds a lot of information, which is
He
which I
does.
like about him.
He does.
And
Yes,
Kevin
he's
from
still a
Bristol, Hall
very
of Famer.
important figure in
Exactly.
the community.
Whether
in the
Kirk
mental
remembers him or not.
institution.
I saw someone say it on the chat earlier. Kevin from Bristol looks so much like the guy from Trailer Park Boys. It's unbelievable.
Yes, he does, actually. That's a good call.
It's
I don't know the
crazy.
reference, so I'm
Well,
not
we'll get to
sure.
that the next time.
There
Kevin
we
from Bristol's
go.
on Mike and the Minifans.
night,
Guys, thanks
guys.
for coming by. I hope we sorted everything out. I'm sure I'll get shit for this somehow on Twitter. But
yeah.
I await that at blindmike_. And so if you're listening, subscribe and tap the bell so you get notifications every time we go live, every time we post it on YouTube. And also check out Broken Tea Virtual Golf, thebrokent.com, TEE, and BOSNYE.com for your New Year's plans. Support those Minifans. And until next time, good riddance. See you, gang. Oh, of course, Justin didn't have the fucking song ready. Why would you? I guess I'll kill time until he can play the outro song. This son of a bitch. Goodbye.
Another tough day at work today. Stephen Kirk, think I suck. Throw back a few wobbly pops, feeling down on my luck. And the interns ruin every show. But it's still where we want to go. It's Mike and the Minifans. 'Cause nobody had any better plans. You want to be with DC and our aim in a hand. The host can't see it's Mike and the Minifans. And nobody's seen real MHB. This whole thing is a sham. You never see him pee, it's Mike and the Minifans.